Hey, this is David Hayter. You may know me as the screenwriter of films like X-Men, X-Men 2, and Watchmen, but you probably know me best as the voice of Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. And you're listening to Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. Kept you waiting, huh?
Where your information can be fished out, as well as your computer, phone, tablet, or what have you. A lot of people don't realize that video game consoles can be subject to being compromised as well. So there's a device that's out, and it's one that I strongly believe in. It's one that we here at the Kasanova Podcast utilize, and that is the Trend Micro Home Network Security. And it is a simple device that you plug into your router, and it basically safeguards your devices. It doesn't matter what from, because if it's on your network, it's going to be protected. And that includes your tablets, your phones, your computers, and also your gaming console. It looks at the traffic that's coming in and out to make sure that there's nothing that's compromising it. And anything can compromise your devices, from apps to websites. Some sites have malware, spyware, and ability for it to be compromised and backdoored for hackers to get. Same thing with apps. Same thing that can happen with game consoles. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you're protecting yourself. And also for parents, one of the things that I think you guys would absolutely love with the Trend Micro Home Network Security is the fact that you have a notification anytime your kids are on the internet. It will notify you if they're on sites that they're not supposed to be on, or sites that have any type of compromising capability. You can also, if you want to fine tune it and safeguard your kids' access to the internet, you can limit what sites they go to, as well as how often the devices that they have, how often they can go on the internet. It's really a great device that I highly recommend to anyone out there looking to safeguard their devices. It's great for individuals, small businesses, big businesses, and most importantly of all, it's good for families. You can safeguard your information, make sure you're not being compromised, you're safe on the internet, your kids are safe, and that's what's really important. So with that being said, make sure you go and safeguard your devices and your information. And for me and for the Kasanova Podcast, we stand fully behind Trend Micro Home Network Security. Get yours today, link below, and get yourself the best device for home network security, which is also in the name. All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and I've got the honor and the privilege of having the sensational and influential iamBrandon. Man, how is it going? How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. This is great. I'm excited. I'm super excited. So I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
Cool. Like so, man, it's you. I love your energy. Like I love your personality and everything that's just coming across on social media. Like I've been following you for a while, and man, it's like you're like that breath of fresh air that we've been meeting on Twitter. It's just like so many people, like so many. We were just talking about this before we went live, but like so many creators have this like. Okay, I'm gonna say, in my words, I'm gonna say like they have this sterile personality. Like, hey, follow me. Hey, I put up a video. Like, no, give me a reason to invest. Let me see some of that spice. Like, make some hot takes. Like,
yeah. See, I like thinking about that. It's so funny when people say that, because I when I first started actually like tweeting as like myself, I was very scared to do that, mainly because I didn't know how people would react. But I did get to a point where I said that if I noticed people were listening to what I was saying, that I was gonna be myself, and then use that to my advantage of being like, hey, well, let me speak about stuff that I actually think is important that we need to talk about, because sometimes certain situations aren't talked about. Pretty much. Yeah,
definitely. And go ahead, before we kick off the show, go ahead and plug your social media, upcoming projects, and your various outlets. Tell them where to find you.
So if you don't know who I am, my name is Brandon Stinnis, but I go by iamBrandon in the gaming world. I work for Reverb Games as the influencer relations manager. You can find me on Twitch at iamBrandon. Oh, I'm Brandon. I didn't think about that. And then Twitter at iamBrandon TV, because I cannot get iamBrandon because someone has that account, and hopefully one day he'll just let me have it. But we'll see about that. So you can find me on those. Yeah.
Cool. And that's another thing too, that as a creator, as a streamer, like having that universality of your branding across all platforms, it just makes it so much simpler.
Oh my God, yeah. It was like I started realizing that when I started working in the gaming industry and stuff, and being like, okay, so how am I gonna do this? My username is totally different than my real name. But my job wanted me to use my username to attract people to the job, and I felt really weird about that. So I just kind of made it simple. Just was like, you know what, I am Brandon, and people were just like, oh hi, what's your name? Oh hi, I am Brandon. Boom. Don't have to worry about anything else. It's just easy. I don't have to explain like what does this word mean, like what's this username, like oh I am Brandon.
But it goes a long way, and isn't it crazy how like you'll build your brand or create your brand name, and then a lot of the times like there's not a whole lot that goes into it. It's like wow, you'll look back in hindsight and you're like, damn, I built my brand with that. I didn't even put that much effort.
Yeah. The old name I used to go by was UGR Gaming, which was my old website. But the only reason I took it upon myself to take the name was because that I was streaming under the website's channel, Twitch channel. So people just would call me UGR, and I would just be like, okay, I guess that's me now. So I was streaming on Twitch for a while, and I got partnered under that name too. So it's like I have a bunch of like stuff still like in my closet of just like UGR Gaming. Like I have a plaque from Twitch saying that, and it's like weird. But one day I just kind of I had wanted to rebrand for a while because I had shut down the website and all that anyway. So once I got to a point where I wanted to actually be myself and promote myself as Brandon, I came up with this very easy name, which it's like weird. People say it's like, oh, this I am Brandon. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm Brandon. I've done that joke a few times, as you can tell. So yeah.
Yo, so I love your logo, man.
Thank you.
Brand. Like, how did you come up with that?
As soon as I came up with the username that I wanted to use, I've always been into like glitchy like effects in movies and all that kind of stuff. So I really wanted to like for the actual logo to have like glitchiness in it. It just like go by like the IB initials and stuff. If I was just like, oh yeah, IB, so people will see it. But it turned out really good. Like there was a few different variations of color back in the day that we used. Like one looks like it actually looked like a switch, like two Joy-Cons, like what was blue, what was red. And then someone showed me this just plain white one. I was like, you know what, you still get the same effect and it still looks cool, and like it's from a far away, like if people don't know who I am, it just still looks visually like, whoa, what is that? It's like, how does it look like that? Yeah. So I was really proud of it when the whole rebranding stuff happened. I was so excited and was ready to throw out all the old stuff, and it's like, let's just go with something that I really enjoy. So on my Twitch channel, everything like my panels, they're all glitchy too, and like all my overlays and stuff like that too. Yeah.
Cool. And that's the thing too. Like a lot of creators I know, they think that they have to plan and make everything perfect the first time that they go around, and I keep telling them like, no. You're gonna change everything at some point. You're gonna rebrand. So
luckily for me, I had a few friends who already like went through the process of rebranding, so I knew what I needed to do. Especially going through all the social media stuff and trying to find out what was available and what I could actually use. And so Twitch was the main one. Like I had to have iamBrandon. If it wasn't gonna be like that, I wasn't gonna use the name. So which I'm kind of shocked that nobody did it, but I was the one that had it. I grabbed that off the Twitch, and I saw obviously there was other social media names with the iamBrandon thing, but I just switched it to TV because that's what most people who can't get their handles obviously on social media use the TV to kind of represent, oh, I'm a streamer kind of ways. So, but one day, if I get that iamBrandon, I am taking it. I'm very tempted to message him and ask him because he doesn't really tweet.
Mhm.
But I have a feeling that he's gonna be like, oh well, pay me $1 million. I was like, well, okay, all right, you can keep it. You can keep that. That's cool.
So, do you mind like giving us the background on yourself, like how you got into gaming and
Yeah.
like how you got into Twitch and content creation and the gaming industry as a whole? Like, what's that journey been like for you?
Oh, it's so funny because I just talked about this like 30 minutes ago with somebody. I was on the phone talking about this. So it's fresh in my mind. So I've been playing video games since I was like very young. And I like when I was in the 8th grade had like aspirations to work for Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
No idea why. For some reason, I was like, I want to grow up and I want to work for Nintendo. And so that didn't really happen, obviously. But I, kind of became realistic about the goals because, like, who's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna grow up to work in video games. That wasn't a thing. So I went, yeah. So I went to school to be a teacher, and I wanted to become a teacher, learn all the techniques of doing all that. Which is why now, obviously, I'm not a teacher, but I kind of apply some of the stuff that I did learn from my teaching classes to like trying to educate people on stuff that they may not know about with streaming and kind of coming at a different way than most have, which I think that's why some people do listen to the stuff that I say because like I have had experience as a streamer, and I'm going to show you what not to do that I made mistakes on. So I do it in that kind of way. But when I got out of college, I was trying to find a job in journalism because the teaching route didn't work out. And as I was doing that, I was playing a lot of video games over the summer because I was unemployed. So I played a lot of like Call of Duty online with friends, just a lot. Jeez, I can remember. I had an Xbox 360 and I went to GameStop like pretty much every day during that summer because I would buy games and take them back and recheck because that the 7-day policy that you could like take it, and I would like try out a game, and if I didn't like it, I would go back and change it and get another game with the same money. It was really bad, but I got to experience a lot of different games. And so one game I ended up buying was this game called Nier, which a lot of people at this point know the sequel, Nier Automata. I love the first game. Was super obsessed with it, and when I was looking up information on it, I didn't really see a lot of like reviews on it that I would think there would be out there. So I at the time was trying to figure out a way to do an online portfolio for myself to try to give to like editors to show that I had some work out there because I didn't have it at the time. So I was like, you know what, let me create a blog about video games because that's what I'm doing. Let me write about the reviews on games I play and see what happens. So I started a website called UGR Gaming, and then I started going on social media and collecting the different social networks with the name, and then started like publishing the articles online, and somehow people started finding it. And mainly because I was like also having conversations with people on Twitter as well, which I think a lot of people who are starting off like content creation like follow a bunch of people, but they don't interact with them, or just like posting things, but just like leaving that there and not like actually interacting with folks. And so once I started doing that, people were actually going like, oh yeah, there's this person who's talking to me. Oh, I guess they're from a website. Oh, let me check out their stuff. And then, people would share it. And then other people found out about the website and wanted to kind of work with me on it. And so I had this like staff of people who ended up joining me on this website. We were writing for quite a few years. And then we ended up doing a podcast for it. And the podcast got picked up by iHeartRadio. And then started streaming on Twitch. And when that started happening, I was like, okay, well, the website was meant to kind of be a springboard for everybody to kind of find what they wanted to do and kind of be that step for them to get into the gaming industry. And then once I kind of found like a great avenue for myself, everybody else who was in it too actually went and doing stuff in the gaming industry as well, which is pretty cool. It kind of went on their own path. So once that happened, I kind of shut that down. And I like started applying for positions in social media because that's what I was kind of like interested in at the time. And I ended up working for a marketing agency that for McDonald's. I was doing marketing for McDonald's social media, and that's what was my first job, learning about like social media, how it works, and all that kind of stuff. And then I I got laid off the year after that.
What?
Yeah, it was crazy. But at that time, I was streaming on Twitch, so it was like I was learning about this new avenue that I didn't really know about before, and actually putting in myself as my own personality to showcase on the internet, which I never expected. And so I learned about partnership with Twitch and like all that needed to be involved, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And so I just like worked really hard at that. And speaking of social media, I was like using Twitter at the time, and that's at the time I was under the UGR gaming name as myself, and I think I was talking about stream teams on Twitch. And I happened to be using the program called XSplit, which, if you don't know, it's one of the programs that you can use to live stream on Twitch or Mixer and all that kind of stuff. And so I was using their program, and I was also affiliated with them. And so I said something about like I wish that the United States stream team of XSplit would get like a little bit more like kind of visibility in events and stuff as the UK streamers would, because they were like going to events and doing all this kind of stuff. And so at the time, their UK community manager was following me on Twitter, reached out to me and asked me about like, hey, like, I know you have these concerns, but one of the reasons why we don't have this going on in the US is because we don't have a US community manager right now. And so I was working at the time at the Illinois Lottery doing social media there, because that's, I found that job. And I was like, oh, well, here's my resume. If nobody's, I live in America. I do social media. Like, here you go. And so I ended up doing, I interviewed with them. It took like a 2-week process. And I remember they're based in the Philippines. So I was like freaking out, because I was like, I had to wake up super early for the meetings. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. Cause like, I had to be at work with their like trying to call me, and I don't know how I'm gonna take these interviews. So I remember I went downstairs and I was like trying to be like really slick on the phone and like trying to hurry up before like I had to go back upstairs to my job. And so I did that, and then like 2 weeks later they sent me an email saying like, hey, we want to offer you the position. So I took it, and then literally the next day I got partnered on Twitch. So it was like I got the job working for XSplit, and then I got partnered on Twitch, and then it was the same week as PAX East that year. So I went out to PAX East, and it was like I had this new job, and I just got partnered on Twitch. And so the XSplit people were there, and they were like welcoming me to the team and all this kind of stuff. And I was celebrating being a partner on Twitch, and it was like a crazy time of my life. But that was like the first like the first job I had that like, okay, you're going to be working in this industry, and you just you got to make it quick, because it's going to go by pretty fast. And so, working at XSplit taught me a lot about community management and then social media as well. But then like we were working with like, in tech, but also working with different developers. So I was doing like brand deals with like Square Enix and like trying to get streamers and all this stuff together. And I was like, I don't know how this happened. Like, I was like working at Walgreens like last year. How did this happen? And ever since then, I've been able to, continue on and working with really great companies. And I'm really at this really great place now, Reverb Games, which I absolutely love. I love the entire team. Like, I love what I'm doing. I'm back working with content creators, which is one of my passions. And that's what I felt I was missing before. But now, since I'm with a team who's like very passionate about what they do, it's like really family oriented. They've been very welcoming to me coming to the team. It just feels good to be like back in that space, and then wanting to help other content creators like thrive. That's what I've always kind of been passionate about, I would say.
Awesome, man. And
long story, sorry.
No, dude, we're all about the organic conversation. So like I'm like, as you're talking about it, I'm on the journey with you. I'm like, yo,
it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, because it's like when I tell the story, it sounds like it's made up, but I was like, no, this really happened in this sequence of things. Like, and I've always been a very big believer on if things are meant to happen, they're meant to happen. And certain things in my life happened badly and would have put me in a different spot. But you know what? I just kept pushing and tried to get myself out there. There there were so many times I wanted to quit. And if I would have probably been pissed at myself now, because I would have got here. So this is, I'm in a really happy place where I'm really proud that I could say that I worked really hard to get to where I am now. So yeah.
And it's this thing too, is like a lot of people think like, especially if they want to get into content creation or working with the gaming industry or tech industry or whatever industry, they think, oh, there's this perfect roadmap where you do this, you do that. And I'm like, no, there isn't. Like it's such a variable thing. Like, for us growing up, wanting to work in the games industry was like, for us as kids, that wasn't even really a thing.
Definitely not an option. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely not an option.
And it's like, going to, like, for me, like I went to school for communications marketing. I wanted to go into journalism and do PR. And like when I got my degree, that's when social media took off. And it's like, all right, well, I don't need to work for a PR firm when you could just go on Twitter or Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like learning how to transition into that and learning how, the power of social media, marketing, of branding and PR, and just being able to, work with, like I tell people who are like, oh yeah, I want to review games, I want to do this for companies, but maybe I'm too small, or maybe I can't get in contact with them. I'm like, okay, well, here's the thing. You got a game, right? You have a game. Pick up the game and review the game you have.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was doing. I still, I did that for a very long time. And that's why I always try to talk about, I think you were saying something too about this, is investing in your own content. A lot of people, and especially now, are hoping for everything for free. And it's like, that's not how it goes if you're trying to build yourself up to something. Like, you can't just like start something and just expect everything for free. Because I remember my very first review copy of a game, I think it was Saints Row 3 for the Xbox 360. I still remember that because I was like, oh my God, like I've been writing reviews all this time. They actually sent me a game. And it was shocking, but like it was because I was writing reviews from games I had already bought and purchased, and I played those games. It wasn't because like I was waiting for somebody to send it to me for free. It was just investing in my own content. And, I was able to send them emails saying like, hey, I write for this website. Here is other reviews I've done in the past. Would love to review your game. And luckily they took a chance on at the time, an indie website to do a review on their game. And we did the review on it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And walk us through this, like, because I know a lot of content creators that are trying to find the way to work with, the gaming industry. In your opinion, does the size of like the follower count or sub count or does that really matter, or is it more so hard work and quality content, or is it a mixture of both? In your
so for I love I made that sound. So for me, I would say it is a really good mixture of both, and it also depends on what company you're talking to as well. Like I could definitely never go to, I don't know, like a Sony and be like, hey Sony, can you send me a free PlayStation 4? I stream your games, I will stream all that and they'll give it to me. That definitely won't be happening. But I would say like, well, that would be the day. And if that happens, I will definitely be like, okay, I was wrong, you were right. But I would say, like, just for example, for a game, I think if it's because I've seen so many promotions and activations with streamers where they have reached out to, like, I guess someone who doesn't have a huge like following, but they have a great community of people who watch them. Like, for example, I know like Borderlands 3 did that. I know Final Fantasy 7 remake recently happened. They were working with a lot of different creators. In general. And the main thing about that is because a lot of these companies now have streamers working with them. So they know what to actually find. They know what kind of communities they're looking for. Like, of course, they're like, there's going to be promotions with the big influencers and stuff like that, which, that's understandable. But a lot of these big, like a lot of these creators that I would say I'm a medium-sized creator. But I have a really great supportive audience who do support me, like within Twitter and Twitch and all that kind of stuff. So I think that it is worth trying, but you need to have the resources and the stats to back you up and know what you're talking about. If you just go in there and say, hey, I stream on Twitch, can I have one of your games? That's not going to work. And I will say from my own experience, and I'm going to say not for my current job, just to, we won't put any pressure on that, but for other jobs I have worked for in the same position, I've always wanted someone who I knew was really passionate about what they wanted to do. They knew their stats of their channel, and knew what they wanted, and I could just reference and go back to their channels and just look and see, like, okay, like this person has 50 viewers in there. I have a game that's launching soon, but I definitely do want them to check it out because they're fans of like this genre of games. So I think they'd be a really great person to showcase it. And I've talked about the same concept with like even marketing agencies. Like I've talked to them before, like the bigger people, of course, they're going to get a lot of eyeballs on it, but are they actually enjoying it? Probably not all the time, especially if it's a game that's totally out of their genre and they're just being paid to play it and they're playing it and they don't really care. That's why when I do this stuff, I get very specific. Like if I'm going to be doing a sponsor stream with someone, I want to know that this is their genre. This is something that they like. This is something that they're interested in. I don't want to pitch anything that's just like, okay, I have a game. Let me go to Ninja. He has like, 1 million followers on Twitter. So if he posts about this, that's going to like go to sales. Absolutely not. Like if it's like Ninja's into this game and he actually is liking it, and like his audience are going to want to check it out because like, oh, you know what? I watch Ninja. I respect him. So I'm willing to check out this game too if he really likes it. But I feel like a lot of the smaller creators are very awesome subject matters of just being interesting subjects to have in campaigns for that kind of stuff. Because you could see the passion, and the communities are really great, and they do follow really great people. I've worked with a lot of great people who may not be the biggest in the world, and I don't want to. I never want to look past those people, and I won't, because I know what they do provide, which is really good communities and passion about a project that I'm working on. Yeah.
And that's the thing too. It's like, it's really, I've been in your position before. Like I used to do stuff with Microsoft. I used to work for them. I've done the PR side. I've been with them when they were doing Microsoft Game Studios. I shifted over to the retail side when they came out here to Hawaii to open. I was actually part of the team that opened the first.
Oh, wow.
Oddly, this only for some other reason, we only have one Microsoft store out here. But I was here for that. Yeah, I was here for that, and I was a trainer for the retail side of Microsoft out here too. And it's like, like you were saying about, you have to look at certain aspects. Like, okay, you may not have the numbers, but you've got the passion. You've got a great audience. So, I could definitely see working with you. And then you've got the people that have the huge audiences. And I've seen it. I've worked with influencers back when I was with Microsoft, where it's like, yeah, you got the following, but you don't. You can look at them and be like, I don't care about this.
Yeah. And that's why I've always, and I work as if it were me. And I always try to find people who are genuinely interested in the game. And that's why the first conversation that I have with anybody is, okay, these are the games that I have working with. These are what types of games they are. I will give you like all the information. Go through it, see if it's something that you're interested in. If not, we always have something else that we could try to check out later. I'm totally a person who's willing to negotiate with somebody. If they really don't like it, I'm totally cool with that. And if they are kind of hesitant, but they try to say yes because they want to, I take a step back and I'm like, you know what? Maybe let's not do that. Let's not do that. Because the worst thing is to, give someone a sponsored stream and they absolutely hate it and they're having a horrible time, and then their audience is having a horrible time, and then your job is not having a good time because this person is not enjoying what they're supposed to be promoting, and it just looks bad, So that's why I have always learned, just having people having general interests, besides like if it's a paid thing or not, as long as they have interest in the actual thing they're promoting, then you should be good, So that's been my stance since I started doing like influencer management since for like 2 years ago. and it's worked so far. I haven't ran into a situation where I gave somebody a game before talking with them, and it was just like they had a horrible experience, and it was like, ugh, cringe. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, and that's another thing too. Like I feel like a lot of creators and streamers also, some get the okay. So let me step back and dive into it a little bit better. So for example, for me, when I work at companies, so I work with Bandai Namco. Occasionally, I've worked with Square. I'm finding my footing with them now, but. I've worked with them in the past. I've worked with, Bethesda, many other companies. And when they pick me, like, hey, here's the review code, or hey, can you stream this game? I treat that like, my life depends on it. Like, hey, you chose me out of millions of people to cover this. I'm going to get the results back to you, like the review back to you within X amount of days. I'm gonna have this fully gone through my review. I'll stream it as well as review it.
Yeah.
And I just, I give it all my, all the PR I can from all my outlets.
That's super appreciated. Let me tell you that right there. I will tell you that right there. Super appreciated.
But it's like, then I know other creators that they don't get, like, they'll get a code and they're like, I'll play it when I feel like it. And I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. I have so many thoughts on this whole thing. So obviously, I stream, so I tend to sometimes get some of these opportunities where I'll get a key. Like, for example, I got Final Fantasy Remake. I knew that I wanted to stream this game, and I was gonna give them as much content as I could. And the thing about it is that, especially when it comes to streaming games, like, I feel like the company who sends you keys, they're not looking for you to play the game for like 80 hours and like stream, like expect you for 80 hours. They just want you to make content with the game. This game that they put out there, they're giving you a key to promote their product, and they're giving it to you for free so you can, showcase it to your audience and show them what this game is about. As long as you're actually doing it, I think that's at least appreciated, that they could go back and look through the history and be like, this person I gave a key to, okay, they actually did something with this. I appreciate that. Thank you. Because the coolest thing about that is they'll remember that in history if there's another game, like, okay, you know what? Let me go back and see, this person contacted me. Oh, I sent them a key. Did they actually stream this game? Oh, yeah, they did. Okay, so I would like to work with them again. Or if you didn't, they could easily go back and say, okay, I sent the key to this person. I have no footage. I have no coverage. I have no content from this person. Why should I send a $60 game for free to them and hope that they will actually do it? So, yeah, I that's why I've always been. It's funny because I have friends who work for some of these companies, and like, I'm not like, oh, well, you're my friend, give me a key. It's more like, I'm going to apply to you as everybody else does. And I do that every single time. And if I happen to get a key, I stream it, I make content out of it. And I make sure the next day I send them a link to the VOD. I send them a screenshot of the stream. I send them everything as possible and ask them if they need anything else from me, just so they have that information for their records if they need to do that, so they can look back and say, like, I sent the key to Brandon actually did it. Okay, let's consider it for something else. And I've gotten other opportunities just by giving back feedback and responding to them afterwards, because I wouldn't say you have to go back and do all that, but it's appreciated to the people who are actually needing that footage to go back to their bosses and having to show them these are the people who actually streamed our game, and this is why they were worth the argument to have them involved.
Yeah.
Like,
and I did that for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot when that came out earlier this year. I'm friends with one of the guys at Bandai Namco, and I texted him up and I was like, hey, is there a form? Because typically it's like a form you fill out and whatnot. I'm like, hey, is there a form that I can fill out for the game? I really want to cover it, but if not, I'm gonna go pre-order it, just in case, because I'm still gonna cover it anyway. And he's like, bro, what's your address? I was like, oh, okay, here it is. And next thing I know, like, boom, he sent me the collector's edition. I'm like,
Is
I
it
was
back
like-
there in the? I'm trying to see. Is it back there somewhere? I'm trying to see.
I got it in my other room. I got it in my other
Okay.
room. Like this whole wall here is purely from things that have been sent to me.
I do love the Resident Evil 2 and 3. I am jealous because I did pre-order that, but I didn't get it because I was moving, so I was too
Oh.
scared that they were gonna drop it off at my old address and I wouldn't be able to get it, so I canceled it. But it's okay. I still get to play it eventually.
But like even with that, like with you know them sending stuff to me, like I still like I don't want to abuse that. I'm like, look, I still want to go through the process the way everyone else does. Like you know, yes, you know I'm gonna cover content, but there may be somebody who may be more deserving of it than me. And it's like I was telling my friend at Bandai Namco, even my friend at Capcom that sent the stuff to me. I was like, look, you know, I'll still fill out the form. And they're like, no, Mekel, you're good. We got you. I'm like, no, just you know.
Yeah, I always think it's in good graces in general because like especially like there's people in the industry who like they change jobs all the time. I've changed a few jobs in the last few years, and if they're at somewhere else, like they're gonna remember that you actually like responded and like did content on stuff that they did, so they might want to work with you again on a different project.
Yeah.
I always try to think of every opportunity could turn into something else in the future, so that's why I treat it as such.
Yeah, definitely. So speaking of which, let's what's a normal day like for you in your current position?
Walk
us through it.
Yeah, okay, all right. So I obviously am working remotely because of all this coronavirus stuff that's happening. So our whole team is working remotely. So basically, like there's a lot going on right now. Like my job is like working on different types of titles for our agency. So there's a lot going on. So I'll have, I'm in meetings a lot most of the days. And then I'm also checking out creators who would be good for the upcoming titles that we have activations for. So I'm always looking at people, scoping out people, going to different platforms, learning about them. And then like you should see, I have like a Google Drive of just like 80 different lists of things and all this over things and what I want to do. But just like, going through work meetings and then searching out content creators and then thinking of like different activations that would work for people. Because I had to also be on the marketing side of our company as well, helping out the marketing team with, hey, so we want to work on this game. Like, what are your ideas that you think that would be good for streamers and having them stream the game? So I had to come up with those ideas as well, which I love that. I love being a part of like the whole gaming publishing process because I get to see the behind the scenes and the understanding as a streamer being like, hey, like if this happened to me on stream or if I like was streaming this game, I would love if this happened, and then giving them that feedback back and seeing that later on happening a few months later and people experiencing things I was talking about as an idea, which is something pretty cool. So I do that for, in meetings all day and doing my usual work stuff and scoping out content creators and all that kind of stuff up until 7 o'clock ish, depending. Sometimes ish. Yeah. Cause we do have some meetings with people who are outside the US. So we have to deal with time zones and stuff. So that's always fun. Yeah. I mean, I'm awake at all hours, so I feel like it is what it is. But yeah, I give myself like a 2-hour break, and then around 8 o'clock I start like I finish eating and I start getting ready for stream. So then I start streaming around 9 p.m. go until around 12 midnight. And then after that, I do the usual after stream stuff like posting like some funny moments on Twitter. Going to other streams that I haven't been able to visit, just doing like kind of collecting things I missed on social media while I was streaming and stuff. And just I go back to sleep and start it all over again. It's just like a cycle of content creation and work and streamers. I feel like I'm a 24-hour clock in this, just dealing with streaming until it's Saturday and Sunday. I've tried to stop that recently so I could just like take a break from it. But I love being on the clock and just always invested in Twitch or Mixer or whatever. Just like being involved in these streamers' lives in the behind the scenes. They sometimes don't even know I'm involved, but it's really cool to check out these people just to see what they do and then be like, hey, you know what? You are very unique. I think you'd be perfect for this opportunity I have. And just like, have that in the back of my head. And then later on come back and be like, hey, we have this opportunity. You'll be perfect for it kind of situation. So yeah, I do really like being on this side of the industry and then working with streamers, and being a streamer myself. I know what kind of things they like and how to approach them. And because I actually watch their content and know that what they're into. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like even when I reached out to you about coming on the show, and I was like, hey, you want me to send you some links to some of the stuff I've done? You're like, oh, I've already looked at it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what?
yeah. I see it. I'm such in a mindset of like, when people reach out to me to do certain things, I just look into everything right away just to make sure, because like sometimes there'll be if I get a podcast request, I like to know like where it's gonna be posted, or is it like up to date or current, and how the interview style is, because like not every podcast, like I don't think that I fit every podcast. Like someone might be interested in talking with me, but I don't think there would be like a good conversational flow with every person. So I tend to look at that, and then I try to make sure it just fits all parties, because I would hate to go on someone's show and then it just like not flow at all. That's really awkward. Yeah. It hasn't happened yet, so we're good. So we're good so far. I feel great saying that confidently.
No, and that's the thing too, is like, when I reach out for guests, like I always try to make sure that it's like that chemistry, because even like when I have the voice actors and gaming industry people on, I'm like, I know you guys get asked a lot of the same questions over and over, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get the prerequisites out the way, but let's talk about you. What do you like? Like, let's dive into it. Like, and like a lot of the voice actors I've had on, like you could tell like when from the start of the interview, like how they're like this, and then by the end of it, they're like, man, let me get a drink. I'm
yeah. I can totally see that. That's why I'm glad to be in the position where I don't I like my work is also a part of like my streaming personality stuff too, so it's not like too separate. Because like work brings up all the time, like about streaming stuff. Like sometimes I'll post something and they're like, hey Brandon, how was that? And I was like, oh, y'all saw that? Oops. I didn't know y'all were watching that. There's been so many instances where there's been, I'll post something and then somebody from work will say something to it, not in a bad way, but just like will remind me that like, oh yeah, there are people who are watching and I work with, but it's all good. Because just in general, I've always been very open about how I am on social media, and I've always wanted them to like at least be following me and know about me in general. So and luckily for Reverb, some of the people who worked for the team and have worked for the team in the past and like references like already knew who I was, so they are already prepared for the person that they're gonna get.
No, but I mean, it's the energy and the personality. Like you add the flavor to the company, so that's the great part. And it's that's one thing I've learned about the game industry, that the last couple of years I've been able to work in it, and it's like it's huge, but it's very small.
Yep. That is so true. It is so true. Like that is, I talk about that all the time. Is that when something is going on, like especially I would say in streamer Twitter world, that's when you start noticing stuff, and it's like I take myself out of it because I do not want to get involved in like that kind of stuff. But it'll be like, okay, well, I don't want to work with you. I don't want to work with you. I don't want to work with you. Because like I've had conversations with industry friends before, and it'll just be like, we'll send a message, be like, do you see what's going on over here? And it's like, yeah, I see that. And it's like, okay, just want to make sure you saw that. All right, cool, great. So that's why I have always tried to tell people that you have to treat like your social media, especially Twitter and stuff, as your resume, because people, even if you don't directly follow someone, people will see your tweets on like somehow on their timeline. I get that all the time, where people will be like, I don't follow you, but I see your tweets because someone liked it. And it's like, oh, like, hopefully I wrote something good, because if it wasn't, here we go. But yeah, it's just you just people are gonna look and know, like, if they want to work with you or not. And I personally, in the past, like, have had to, not work with people because of like really controversial hot takes that were gonna jeopardize like working with them in a company kind of aspect, because it's like you can't work with somebody who's saying certain things about certain types of streamers, and that looks bad for your company. So hey, I saw that as a person reading through Twitter. I can't work with you. Sorry, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just about protecting your brand, both as an individual and as a company. And on the other side, as a content creator and a streamer, you have to, like, I'm not always the best at this, but
I'm not either. So I've had to tone it down a little bit. So I have learned. Learned it.
You had those moments where you're just like, someone says something really stupid, either to you or just out public, and you're looking at it, you're like, "Woosah."
Yeah. I will say the mute this conversation and the mute button has been a blessing in my life. I will say that. There have been so many times that I've written something that I know most likely it's going to be taken out of context, but I'm not deleting it because I know it's not like bad. So I just mute it, because if it blows up, then it comes in the people who are just like wanting to be obtuse because like they want to be opposite of what you're saying. So there are always the people in the press this to read more replies all the way down below. So I usually will let it sit for a day, and I just go through that and like just find the people to block. I'm just like, okay, you're blocked. Yeah. That's the easiest way, because I like sometimes I just like post things and like I know, like, obviously if it was really bad, so many people wouldn't like it or retweet it and that kind of stuff. Like you would see more people like arguing and be like, okay, you're wrong or whatever. But some people just like want to argue with somebody on Twitter for some reason, and I'm just like, no, no. Like I think I'm pretty like. Not too controversial, question mark, when it comes to certain things. I say that with a question mark. But I have talked about controversial topics because sometimes I've felt that like certain things do need to be spoken about. And some people don't feel comfortable talking about it, but I sometimes I'm willing to take that bite. You know what I mean? There's been a few times that I was wrong and I was willing to say I was wrong. Luckily it wasn't nothing too crazy. It was just that, take a look back at what you wrote and realize what you wrote, pretty much. Yep.
The audience is like, give us an example. No.
Oh, an example? What kind of example of which one? I can actually probably give an example that I'm willing to talk about that does not, go too crazy, But let me know what kind of example you need. I could probably definitely do that.
Yeah. Like, okay, so I can give an example of one for me. So as you know, like I interview a lot of voice actors. That's a very huge and small community. There was a certain voice actor last year who got.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's from Dragon Ball, right? So I did an interview with him because I was at the same convention. The convention flew me out, and they're like, "Hey, would you interview all of our guests?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" I mean, it's part of my job. So I interviewed him, and because I interviewed him, I had a lot of voice actors, a lot of prominent ones, cancel me last year.
Ooh! Oh wow!
Yes, yeah, saying that I was. My interviewing him is siding with such and such and the controversy around him. And I had the fans. Oh my God, the fans coming out of the woodwork. And I'm over here like, I just did an interview talking about Star Trek and music.
It can be such a sticky situation for sure. Yeah, it can be such a sticky situation. And like the I will say a good example of something like that it could be done in a way where it's not like glorifying something that happened. I don't know. Have you ever heard of the show Dark Side of the Ring?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen the Chris Benoit episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is a great example, I would say, of like doing an interview or telling a story about someone who did something really horribly wrong, but like explaining the story in a way where it's like you're telling the story, but never glorifying it, but trying to show all sides that people didn't know about. And that I use that as such a great example because I watched that thing and like obviously like I lived through it and like, I hated Chris Benoit, obviously what he did to his family, but watching the series, you get to see what the family was thinking or what his friends were thinking. We didn't know that, so it's really, I always feel like stuff with context and how things are done. It's very situational. You never know. Things just switch up. It's so weird. Yeah. Especially in media.
It really is. Cause it's like, I got dragged into it again the beginning of this year. And I got dragged in with no association. They just dragged me into it. I was like, and I had to tell both the kick side and the pro side, leave me the fuck out of it. My name is Bennett. I ain't in it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just better just like, I tap out here. Sorry.
Hey. But no, like I agree. Like Dark Side of the Ring is definitely one of the best shows that I've seen. Like,
I think it's a great documentary. I don't watch wrestling like that anymore, but every episode I watch, it is done so well. I think it's the fact that it's on like a channel that not a lot of people get, but it is so well done. Whoever like created this concept, I just didn't know that this much craziness happened in the wrestling history. You know what I mean? And they do some really good topics that like are definitely super controversial, but they do a really good job of telling the stories. Yeah.
It's like the people, when you get people that say, oh, I missed the Attitude Era. I missed when they were doing chair shots and this, and this, and they don't do that anymore. And it's like, there's a reason why.
Yeah. And they talk about that reason. It's like, oh, okay. All right. We see.
So, I guess Chips and Six, for the example he wanted you to do, he said a controversial topic that you believe in standing up for or something that matters for you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, I just thought of 3.
Go for it.
I will say a controversial topic I would say that I always stand up for is when the topic of what female streamers should wear on their channels and people try to police women on what they should wear. And I do not like that. Whatever someone wants to wear, that's up to them. And I think that no one is taking anyone's viewers away from them. That's not how it works. Like if someone's going to watch someone, they're going to watch someone. They're not being taken away because of this situation. I hate when that whole, it comes around every few months. It's like a guy streamer says something about cleavage or something. And then it gets into this whole thing about like, oh, blah, 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 booby streamers and all that kind of stuff. And I just think it's ridiculous. And the other thing I would say controversial topics is, which is so crazy to say it's controversial. It's not. It's just about respect. But obviously, I'm a person of color. So I do bring up a lot of topics that like people who are not people of color don't want to hear about. So will definitely be on the forefront talking about like, hey, you know what? Like, this is not right. When I first started streaming on Twitch and was trying to get partnered, and I was like, you know what? I want to have a voice about the stuff that I'm experiencing. I talked about how like, I would like to name, like, tell us some of the top, like, Black streamers on Twitch. This was, like, a few years ago. And, like, people really didn't know. I didn't know. Like, they were promoting it like that. And just being very vocal about issues that I think are really important, especially in marginalized groups, LGBT folks and all that kind of stuff, and talking about that. And how we could be better as a society to allow or just be more respectful for people because of their differences, or the fact that it's just like, hey, you may not be like me, but you don't have to disrespect me in certain kind of ways, Yeah. But yeah, I would say the biggest one is always the female cleavage on stream thing and people getting in a bunch about that. And it just turns into a conversation where it's just like treating people who watch and support your channel as a number or just like a bank source for like financial source for you. And I will never be that kind of person to feel like anybody who follows me or anybody who supports my channel, oh, well, you're just paying my bill, so that's it. I don't care who you are at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it just irks me. I don't like when people treat other people as like things and like you would not be anywhere without me. No, it's like you would not have the support you would have if it wasn't for people who are watching you and that kind of stuff. So sorry, I get really passionate about that.
I'm over here like, dude, here's the wheel. Let's drive us down it. I'm ready to go down. I'm buckled in and ready. Let's go.
Yeah, okay. You know, the topics I can definitely. I love talking about this kind of stuff anyway. So for sure. But I am very vocal when it comes to just LGBT folks, people of color, marginalized groups. You know, respecting women in gaming. It's just so weird saying that. Like, I don't know why it's such a crazy thing. Like this whole like why I don't know. I don't want to get into that because it could be a really big rabbit hole we can get into. But like just respecting women in gaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see more of that. It's really sad that it has to be like we don't see enough women be respected in gaming. It should just we should. You know what I mean? Don't you have a mama? that's what I want to say sometimes. Don't you have a mama? Would you disrespect her as you're doing that to somebody else? But that's why I do have a response for that. Every time I do see those controversial posts from a dude saying something about like a woman's like attire or something, and it's this really great video from Gabrielle Union. She was on like an Oprah special. She was talking about actually she was referring to women tearing down other women just for like whatever reason. But it's just the fact that like, you know, the fact that you are like tearing somebody down that you don't know, you're giving them more power than they would ever have before because you're being a hater, you know? And you should just like, you just look like a hater when you do that kind of stuff, you know? And it like, I don't know the full quote, but it's just a great video that it's just good for those kind of situations where it just looks like, you look like a jerk just by talking about like, I hate that kind of stuff. I just, sorry, get me started. I got hot.
No. Look, I'm all about the rabbit hole. As my audience knows, like, you know, I'm all about it. I'll talk about it. And sometimes it's to my detriment, but you know, there've been some hot takes that I've made. Like I've said that we need to get rid of Black History Month. And the reason I say that is because Black history is American history. We need to be talking about that, not just the shortest damn month of the year. You know? Let's talk about it. Like, why is it that people only know of certain folks only on a certain month? And why do we only talk about that? Like, no, it needs to be American history. We need to put an emphasis on it instead of trying to bury it and ignore it. I don't know. That's been a hot topic. I've got a hot take I've gotten in trouble for.
But I will say the one thing about that is, at least for me, I can respect other people's opinion about certain things. You know what I mean? Like if I may not agree with it, I'm never gonna be like, oh, well, you know what? You're a horrible person for thinking that. You know what I mean? Just like, you know, if you have your opinion, I have my own opinion about it, and you know, I feel like you can agree to disagree. I think that people forgot about that. Like you don't have to like. You can agree to disagree and still like have respect for somebody and what they're saying, as long as it's not like, you know, something super out there crazy. About just like other stuff. You know, I think you can agree to disagree at any time.
It's like civil discourse is almost like people have lost the understanding and ability to have it. It's like you can, like you said, you can agree to disagree. And just walk away from it. But a lot of people were like, no, I'm going to make sure you understand and think as I do. And I'm like, okay, so now you stepped into being an authoritarian.
Which that is so true. And I have thought about this a lot, that it makes me kind of, I guess not scared, but also like, it's weird that we live kind of in a society that people aren't allowed to make mistakes anymore. And I will say this real quick, like specific mistakes. Yes. Like if someone gets canceled, whatever, okay, certain things, yes, but like there's been a lot of situations where someone has made a genuine mistake, and people do not allow people to learn from their mistakes because it's like, oh, you messed up, oh, you're canceled, now it's over, like we're not supporting you anymore. There's a situation, well, like obviously name names, but like a friend of mine, he made a really horrible mistake that I know he did. But I know this person, and he needs help on that, which he does. But like, obviously, people online who don't know him and they see what he did, they we're not supporting you anymore. Like, don't ever come back and this and that, blah blah. But we're not allowing people to grow and change, and it kind of scares me that it's like, if we don't give people that room to grow, we're not all perfect. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a perfect person. I never want to get to a situation where like, oops, Brandon, I don't know, said a curse word on a children's television show by mistake, and then I get canceled. I know that's really silly, but just like, if that kind of stuff, I just, people are gonna make mistakes, and I want people to like look outside of themselves and be like, okay, let's look outside of Twitter. Have you made a mistake in your life before? Yeah, you have. You definitely have. If you have you learned from it? Yes. Have you been able to better yourself from a mistake? Yes. But I think especially when Twitter and social media is involved with all types of things, and it's like kind of such a microscope. Like, I feel like everybody just closes in on one situation and just loves to climb on top of it. And that's why, especially even thinking about streamer Twitter, why we see a lot of these really controversial issues keep popping up and then and growing even bigger than the person who actually did it, is because that everybody is retweeting and saying their take on it, instead of being like, okay, this person did something really horrible. I'm not gonna give that attention to make it rise. These people who do that, they get even more attention, more subscribers, more money, more views, because people are amplifying it by quoting and putting their 2 cents on it, when it's not necessary to do that, like the girl who was talking about like what was it, her subscribers and all that, and that the girl was talking about her subscribers, and that like, if you're not subscribed, it like, you don't matter or something like that. And I wrote a tweet the other day where it's like, look, there's gonna be people who are into that kind of stuff. Like, not every streamer on Twitch is going to be a very positive person who is like caring about their community and all that. We're all not like that. That's the beauty of Twitch, is that we are all different and we're not all the same. I mean, of course, like, we want to promote the positivity and community that Twitch has, but that's not every streamer on this platform. And there are streamers who are out there who do very outrageous things, and they have an audience for that. And so when this gets seen by like multiple people, then it turns into a whole like recycling thing of telling people, like reminding people, well, I'm not that person. I will not treat you like that. You don't have to do that. If you're that person, don't. If you're your person, and you don't have to. And you're not like treating people like crap, don't do that. And then you don't have to amplify that person making things even better for them that you don't want to showcase. It's I don't know. It's just a weird cycle. It just stuff that you don't want amplified. It gets amplified because other people are saying what they wouldn't do, and more people see it, and so they continue to do it. It's just like a crazy ring around, bro.
It really is. And to touch on something you said earlier, that I'm trying, and it's something I'm seeing more of, but there's the stigma with like, female streamers and girl gamers, and for me growing up, it was incredibly rare to ever see a girl that was into video games. So like, when I see it, I'm like, yo, that's hot. That's cool. But, I've seen more, and I'm not sure if this is a hot take, but I've seen more women like put other women down for gaming than I've ever seen guys do.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
And that's just only from from what I've seen, both, here in Hawaii, Memphis, Tennessee, and around different places I've lived. That's what I've seen. But, and that's not to say that it doesn't happen on the opposite end with guys trying to cancel women, but it's, I get it, because gaming has historically just been marketed towards men. But like, I don't understand, why is it so controversial, that women are into gaming? Like, why do people find that so, you like the gatekeeper type people?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah. It's for me, like what I'll say, like I definitely have had the perspective that you had, like growing up as well. And the beauty that I've loved about working in this industry is that it's definitely introduced me to like a lot of female gamers, streamers, networks of female gamers and streamers, where it's just like I will always amplify that at any point that I can, because there's some people who literally just don't know, but who don't know, like, you know what I mean, like some like, you know, people just don't know unless they actually see it, and that's why I don't tend to get like upset if someone's like, I don't know any girls who game, because people may not know, but if it's like you're generally asking, yeah, like here's a network of girl gamers who game, you know, and or stream, like check them out for sure. It's the same where like I don't know people of color who stream. I could definitely get that, because discovery on Twitch is not the greatest. So I could definitely understand that. That makes a lot of sense. But it's like you could also people can do the research too. You can look it up. Like, you know, there's like some really great organizations out there, like stream teams that like definitely showcase like all sorts of groups, where if you just do the research, especially now since, you know, we have Google, that you can find these groups. But I definitely understand from your standpoint of having that thought process before, because like when I was growing up, I didn't know too many girls who played video games, and I've been very blessed to have a lot of female friends who play video games, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
No, it's like, you know, with like with my wife, who's actually in the chat. Like,
hi.
She's a fan of yours too.
Oh,
like,
well, hello.
Like, right. And it's like, you know, when her and I, before we started dating, we were just hanging out as friends. Like when I would go over to her apartment, and like she would be playing Ghosts and Goblins on Super Nintendo, and I'm like, "Is that yours?" She's like, "Yeah, it's mine." So she had all these other consoles, and I was like, "You like gaming?" And she's like, "Yeah, marry me, please."
and you know what? And the thing about it is, I'll say this too, is that I think it's the interest that you're interested in her, and then she's also was interested in something that you really like that you didn't know. Yeah. Which that's the element of surprise, which makes it that much better too.
Yeah. Is crazy. So like, yeah, it's like when I see people, like if I see dudes that are like, girls can't play games, blah blah, and I'm like, man, shut the.
That never makes any sense to me. It never makes any sense to me. But you know what? It's always cool to see someone use that as motivation to just prove somebody wrong, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But so before we got a couple questions in the chat, but I wanna hop on this real quick, because you spoke recently on wanting more POC and LGBTQIA plus creators involved in creating opportunities for working with game devs and studios and giving a spotlight on that. Do you mind speaking more on that and why it's important?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So obviously I'm a part of both groups in general. So I always have a big passion of like, if I'm at this point, like if I got here, I want to try to bring as many people as possible with me, you know? So like when I have seen like other activations from other companies in the past, like we always see the same 5 individuals or same like few top people. And I've talked about, there's so many great creators out there who are POC, who are LGBT, but they don't get looked at because companies aren't looking for them unless it's like Black History Month or if it's like Pride Month. That's when they start reaching out, like, hey, we want to feature and showcase you. Which is, I'll say, is another reason why I do not like participate in some of those things anymore, because of the fact that I don't want to be just spotlighted because like, oh, you're gay, oh, you're Black, okay, let's talk to you because you'll fit our profile for this. I want you to be talking to me at any sort of time, at, like when you got stuff going on, or if I don't fit like a promotion, that's fine, but at least having that conversation with me outside of those months, so I don't feel like I'm just the token Black guy that you're trying to fit into there and fit your quota. I'm good with that. So that's why I've been very active on trying to reach these awesome creators who may not be getting the opportunities that they should be getting, because I'm on your side, because I'm in the same boat. So I want to make sure that you're getting as much attention as the same 5 people who are out there, but you could be doing so much better too that people don't see it. It's just but I always feel like in general, as a person of color, I just always have to work 10 times harder all the time just to get my name out there, which that's how I did, because I just always had to do that. And I feel like as long as I'm helping out other people, and if they are fitting like our opportunities for like a game, and it's like they're interested in it, and it's like, you know what, you will be perfect for this. Let me like get you involved in this as well. That's what I want to do. And I feel it's important. I feel like every company should be doing that. It always really boggles my mind that when it starts to be like February or June, then you start seeing everybody's raising the flag for this and that. And it's like, okay, so this month is over. Are you still supporting all these groups of people that you were saying? And most of the time it's no, you don't hear anything until the next year. So
yeah, you've seen it too. Like some companies at the 30th. Okay, at 30th.
All right, we're out.
We're out.
Especially June this year, Pride is canceled for most stuff. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what companies will be supporting, LGBT organizations or LGBT folks when there is nothing to support, because coronavirus canceled everything. So we're all inside. Yeah. So I'm very interested to see how June's gonna work out.
And that just speaks to the importance of like representation and not only just representation, but not selective representation. It's February, we're gonna do let me see what Black creators are out there or POCs are out there that we can work with. It's June, let's see what people, the LGBTQIA plus, we can work with. This needs to be all the time.
And I will definitely say Twitch has done a much better job at showcasing more people like outside of like the celebratory months. They have done a better job over the years. It's taken them a long time to get there. I remember the very first activation they tried to do. I don't know if it was the very first, but it was the one that I think was the first, but that I was involved in, and it was like people freaked out because it was like the first time I ever heard of a Black History Month, and they're like, "Who are these Black people? Oh my god!" And it was like that's how it was. I remember I was like in the comments, like fighting stuff with people, like "Get out of here!" Da, da, da.
Wow.
But it was good because the commotion was a time that you knew that change was needed and it was happening. There's Black creators being featured finally on Twitch without having to be like in the thousands and thousands of viewers. It was like as obviously it was for Black History Month, but it was nice to see that, because when I started streaming on Twitch, I didn't know any Black streamers at all. And it wasn't until maybe a little bit after I got partnered that I met a few. And then after that, then I met everybody. So yeah.
It's like when I was on Twitch for years, and I think the only thing I managed to do is make affiliate. I almost made partner, and I was like, I gave up. I kind of kicked myself for that, because I wish I'd stuck with it. It's just like I'm doing well on YouTube, and I'm like, what about Twitch? So I'm doing Twitch. But anyway, when I was on Twitch, like I didn't see anyone that looks like us at all. It's just like you go through, you see the same top people all the time, and admittedly, Twitch has gotten better. It's gotten better over the years, but for a while there, it's like, if you weren't playing PUBG or Fortnite or you weren't Ninja, like they were not bothering.
I remember the very first TwitchCon. I even wrote, this was before I got partnered and everything. I wrote a tweet about like looking through the top people that they were featuring on TwitchCon, and it was just like all bearded white dudes. And I was just like, I don't see myself in any of these people. Like, this has got to change. I need to, I don't know what happens. Like if I get at some point where I could talk about this, or I need to showcase something, I'll put myself out there for that. And I feel that I've always like I will try to do my best to show support and show representation of marginalized groups. If I gotta take the like the horrible crap that people will say, the trolls and all that kind of stuff, I'm willing to do that if it just helps somebody else like be able to step forward and go surpass what I'm doing. And that's why I've been very proud of like the progress that I've made, is because I've seen so many people of all kind of races, all kinds of everything, who have like came to me and told me like, Brandon, like, thank you for being open about what your life is like and your experience, and giving advice, and not being a person who is like just like not approachable, because like if I didn't take your advice, like I wouldn't be here in this position I am in now. And that's what I've always wanted for people. Like if you could take anything that I've done in my life and apply it to your life and make it better, and you can surpass anything that I'm doing, my job here on this earth is done. I'm here to help people, and if I helped you, I did what I was supposed to do. Yeah.
Cool. So let's see, you got a couple questions. We got Chips and Sticks. He has a question for you. He says, how do you maintain a good relationship with a company or developer and give an honest review for a game while still not bashing it?
Ooh, that's a great question. Okay, so I'll say definitely, do not be afraid to be honest. It's about the language that you send to them, about the feedback that you have. If it's like, oh, this game fucking sucks. Oh, I wasn't supposed to curse. Can I curse?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
There's
okay.
no filter.
So if it was like, this game fucking sucks. Okay, why? Can you tell me why? And it's like, oh, it just sucks. Oh, okay. But no, like, you could definitely be critical about a game and sending like feedback and explaining why. And a lot of that feedback, developers want to know, because sometimes there will be stuff that is like, say if you're playing on a PC game and you're experiencing like a really horrible glitch, and they may not have seen that in their testing, which I would hope they would, but like sometimes that does happen. That's why there's bugs and patches and stuff. But like, you sending feedback and be like, hey, like, I experienced it in the game. Here's like a clip of this happening in the stream. Could you check this out? But I really like your game. It's just all about just the language and being respectful, but you don't have to be so like, you know, if I say something bad about their game, they won't work for me anymore. That's definitely not the case. Like a few months ago, this is a good example. A few months ago, I was playing this game that had just came out. I had like reached out to them, was really excited about playing it. When I streamed the game, it was bad. It was really bad. The frame rate was just all over the place. I couldn't play. It was really bad. But the next day, I sent the dev team a link to my stream. I was like, I was trying to stream your game last night, but I was having really bad trouble actually playing the game on stream. So is there anything that we can do, or is there anything that I should be doing to fix it? They sent me back some feedback on like what I could do, and it was like a patch that I had to download. And then I ended up downloading it, and the game actually worked fine. That ended up not really liking the game after it worked. But after that, I just sent them an email back, just basically saying, thank you for letting me play. It's not really my cup of tea, but I appreciate you all sending it out to me. And I just want to make sure that you all saw that I, did a stream with your game. So it's out there. Yeah. So you could definitely be super honest about video game reviews. It's just about the language. So never your game fucking sucks. And I'll say one more thing, because I've had to work social media accounts for games in general, which that is a whole nother beast. Where you'll deal with social media people or trolls just being like, your game sucks, and you're trying to get feedback from them, but they're not actually explaining why. So that's just something that just pops in my head. It's like, your game sucks. Okay, but can you tell me why so I can fix it? Because the devs won't know what they need to fix if no one's actually giving back feedback. So sorry, that was a long-winded answer for your question, but yeah.
No, and I've had that situation happen before where I've gotten games that I'm like, this is shit.
Yeah.
But and I've told other creators that I know, like in my Discord group, I have a lot of, various content creators, streamers. I've got people from the gaming industry in my Discord. And one of the things I keep telling people that are other creators I've worked with is, hey, you may not like the game. Be honest, but provide constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Why it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
What and what could they improve upon?
Mm.
Like
super helpful.
Like find some silver lining.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna say, no, this is the worst goddamn shit I ever played. Man, fuck this game. Don't buy anything from. Yeah, you're gonna get blacklisted.
yeah. That is very true. That is very true. Yeah, gamers are very interesting characters.
Right?
But I will say I do not currently miss having to do social media for games, because if it turns out bad, gamers are very vocal and not always the best at expressing themselves. I'll say that.
It's so true. Gaming Master O, his question is working with the game companies as easy as just asking them?
Oh, as a streamer or like working for them? Because that's two different answers.
I'm
assuming working with them, like as a streamer or content creator, right?
Assuming. Gaming Master O, if you're still here, if you can give a little bit more context, but yeah, we'll go with trying to work with them as a creator. Yeah.
I think it's pretty easy if they are open to working with you. If I've ever worked with a company on a launch or something, it's been pretty smooth. Like, it's not like I have to jump through hoops and all this kind of stuff. I mean, they're pretty straightforward if they want you to do something and you just kind of review like what they're asking. And as long as it's good with what you want to do, it's just pretty much, here you go. I mean, obviously I've done some paid stuff before and I've done some non-paid stuff before. But I've always made sure that I was comfortable doing whatever activation there was, because you will never see me like put on a chicken suit and play a game because this company told me to. It was, I mean, unless it was for like $1,000, okay, maybe I'll do that. But if it's like, I just got to be very comfortable. But I think working with gaming companies is pretty easy as a creator, as long as they, are open to working with you, and they don't really ask that much of you, to be honest, besides like actually putting the content out there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So he said all the people that dissed Destiny as a content creator.
Ooh,
wait.
Like if people were content creators and they like wrote like Destiny sucks or something, and we're trying to work with them on like Destiny 2 or something like that.
I think that's where he's going. Okay, I'll give an example.
Okay.
Resident Evil 3 remake.
Mm-hmm. That's a good example because I can talk about that.
Dude, I got so much shit from people who said, "Oh, I watched such and such's review, and they said not to buy it. It's not worth it. It's not this. It's not that." And I put out a review, a positive. I'm like, "Hey, here's some of the bad sides." Mm-hmm. I love the game. I thought it was fun. I thought it was amazing. I have a close relationship with Capcom, but if I was in the shoes, because I've talked to, I know several other people in the Capcom PR, and that, trying to be very selective.
You always got to do that. You got to be very careful.
Right. It's like, there was a lot of negative publicity from content creators on YouTube and journalists about Resident Evil 3 remake, and it like, I get it if the game is not for you. People were saying it's too short. It wasn't enough replay value. You can beat it in less than 5 or 6 hours. And I'm like, hold up, every classic Resident Evil game is short if you know what you're doing. So yeah.
So, and I definitely, when the game came out, I wrote like a tweet about like my thoughts on it, and I obviously said like what I thought was negative about it. I said what was good about it. I said I thought it's not worth the $6 game, but I did enjoy it for what it was, and if people want to check it out, that's up to them. I'm not the judge, jury, or verdict. So people are more than welcome to take that opinion or not. But I think if like you're just talking about it and like a company gave you that game, like I said earlier, it's all about context and language, you know. If it's just like super disrespectful language, and you could probably find really great examples of people who have been pretty out there. You'll know what not to do. But you know what? I'll say there are some personalities out there that's their brand. They're just like, they will talk crap about it, and they can do that. But that's because they've gotten so much clout to the point where they can say whatever they want. But I wouldn't say use that as a roadmap to try to use that as a brand. It doesn't work for everybody, but for some people it does. So yeah.
Christian Enriquez says, for iamBrandon, what kind of content do you stream on a day-to-day basis?
Okay. So that's a good question because I don't even know. Okay, so I am like a variety streamer now. I was known back in the day for playing a lot of Resident Evil games. So I played through a lot of the series all the time. And I started speedrunning Outlast a lot. And then I started to try to
you gotta help my wife because she's now playing Outlast, and
I speedrun that. It's amazing.
She is scared. You gotta, Leihua, you're in the chat. You're gonna need to talk to Brandon.
Yeah. I know that game like this. Like I played that game for a year straight. And the reason why I sped run that game a lot was the fact that I was able to interact with chat at the same time as I was doing it, because I knew the game so well that like people come in to talk to me and be like, whoa, like how are you playing this game and being able to interact with chat? And I was just like, because I know this game and I'm talking to you. How's your day going? But on Twitch, I stream a lot of retro. I don't know if you can see behind me, but I have a lot of my retro consoles back here. I don't know if it's gonna do that. But I stream a lot of retro games. I also stream like Overwatch sometimes. I do play a lot of scary games because that's kind of my genre. For some reason, people like me playing those games. I do hate them sometimes, but that's why people like it, because I guess my reactions are great. If you ever look up my channel and look at the top clip on Twitch, it is a clip for me from 3 years ago when I played PT and I was drunk on Christmas. And the character Lisa kind of popped out of nowhere, and I was drunk and I threw my controller across the room and fell out my chair. And Twitch actually like posted that video like for everyone to see. So yeah, if you go look, you'll see what I mean. But I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to gaming. Like my streaming is mainly about connecting with the people in my chat. I have a really good connection with people on my stream because a lot of people who watch me, we're around the same age range. So it goes into a lot of conversations about, oh, you remember like Fox Kids and like, you know, Spider-Man and X-Men cartoon and all that. We talk about all the kind of stuff. It's really, we're like a weird bunch of folks, and it's mainly my fault it's gotten like that because I'm an awkward, weird person in life. So I've been able to collect the weirdos around the world in one place. But yeah, I'm a variety streamer. So you like last week I was playing the game Night Trap for two or three streams. That game is very yeah.
The expression said all of it.
Yeah. So if you want to see the Night Trap streams, I think they're pretty good. That game is not the greatest, but yeah, I'm a variety streamer at heart. Expect hopefully a laugh if you come through and watch my channel, because I can't even explain what half the stuff is happening because it's just kind of happening. This is why I feel like I wouldn't be like a ninja, because I'm not good at competitive games. It's just that some games are very bad and I love to play them. So, yeah. Sorry, that was not a really good answer, but it was like an answer I think I would feel comfortable giving. But I do have a trailer on my channel now, so it kind of explains it. And you'll see what you're getting into. So if you see it, you'll know like, okay, he's a hot mess. I'll click follow right there.
Okay. So you know, since we're talking about Twitch and streaming, so when it comes to platforms, you know, streaming's top go-to is Twitch.
Yes.
But what are your thoughts on, say, like YouTube or Mixer or Facebook Gaming and other platforms for streaming?
Yeah. So when it comes to like streaming, I feel like it's always up to the person where they feel comfortable at being at home and watching. I always say like, yes, like a lot of people will be prone to want to go to Twitch because it's the main popular one, but some people may not want to deal with all the kind of like things you have to go through while you're on Twitch. Like discoverability is not that great. There you have to go through kind of like a little high school kind of situations where you have to deal with streamers and their attitudes and egos and all that kind of stuff. You gotta deal with that. And then like you gotta kind of play the game of hoping that Twitch will notice you amongst thousands and thousands of broadcasters. Like I'm a partner now, but I mean that doesn't really mean that much. And when you get to a certain like level at Twitch, I don't really matter to those people all the way up there. I'm not making them a bunch of money. I'm not like having thousands of viewers at the same time. And that's why I've also switched my mindset of not worrying about my viewership on Twitch. I'm more about the community that's there and the people I'm talking to and like whatever we're doing. And let's just go with that. But when it comes to other platforms, I'm a big fan of Mixer, mainly because of like I've been able to work with them when they were Beam and all that stuff. So I've always been very prone to want to work with those creators as well, especially my job now. Like I want to get them involved with stuff too, because like yes, Twitch is like the main source that people want to go to, but there are also really great Mixer creators, and they're a new platform, and so like giving them opportunities now is always, it looks good on that end. You know what I mean? I've done YouTube gaming streams back in the day when I was like not partner on Twitch. I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do. It was something. I will say that
it's still trash.
Okay, it's something. It's something. And Facebook, Facebook gaming, I think they have a horrible UI. It's really hard to find streamers. I don't know how that platform has survived so long without having the discoverability that it does not have at all. I do have a lot of friends who have moved over to Facebook to help like bring awareness to their platform. But they're really popular in like non-American countries. And they're blowing up. Like if you see the stats on Facebook gaming, they're much higher than Mixer. And they're like, it's like Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, no, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook gaming, and then Mixer has, especially in the last few months, Mixer is pretty small. So it's just about like where you feel home and comfortable. And that's why I always say, whenever you're trying to stream on a platform, where if you feel yourself going to another streamer's stream on that platform and feeling comfortable, that's the place you should call home. Because as like being a streamer, it should not be about okay, I'm going to stream, and now after I'm done, I'm out. See you later. I've gained my community and the progress I have by being a part of other people's community, actually watching other streamers, enjoying their chats, rating other people, supporting other people. That's how I've got a lot of my support, because just by supporting other people, that's the easiest way. And that's what I call network. But I mean, sometimes I really like a streamer. I think they're dope. I think they're funny. Like a lot of my great friends now are streamers who I would go in their channel and I thought were hilarious. And I've been supporting them like before they got partnered. And when they did, I was like, damn, like I'm going to make sure I support you and raid you and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it's wherever you feel comfortable at being at home. Obviously Twitch is the most popular one. And I personally would not leave Twitch myself because I built too much stuff on this platform to just like up and quit at this point. But I mean, if Facebook game was like, oh, we'll pay $1 million to like switch over, it's like, oh, okay, see you later. All right, Twitch, y'all ain't paying me that much.
Right, I'm out.
Yeah, I pay me $1 million to be streaming over here. I'll go do that over YouTube. I'll talk to my mom if I have to.
Be like, give me that Ronda Rousey deal.
That works. I'll take that. Right? I'll take that.
No, but to touch on that, and yeah, Facebook, YouTube gaming still trash. It's trash for this, and I'm only gonna say that, and I've already been demonetized. If I breathe, YouTube demonetizes me.
Ooh, I hear YouTube. I have a lot of friends who are YouTubers and have like switched over to Twitch just because like things are very thickety.
Yes.
So yeah, I would not like to be under that constant like, oh, I don't know if like my post contest is gonna happen. That's a little too scary for me.
Right.
A little too scary for me.
So it's like I left Twitch to go here, like, because I already produce content on here, I already have an audience. So I was like, okay, I'll stream on YouTube. And I like streaming on YouTube because, discoverability on Twitch compared to YouTube, it's better on YouTube. So I'll get people. I'll go from, where we're at now with, where we're at 15 or so people, and then I can go up to like 70, 80, 100 some odd people watching a stream. It fluctuates. I'm like, okay, it's cool. When I was on Twitch, I'm like 2, 3. And I was going hard for like, even my wife too. We were both going hard on Twitch for years. Didn't go anywhere. So,
Twitch is
a grind.
Yeah. It like this I always have said I could not imagine trying to start streaming on Twitch at this point. I don't think I would have made it. Like when I started, it was not like there was no like affiliate. There was no like it wasn't all this fancy stuff that they have now. Like I was in a Twitch age where it was just like, all right, you're gonna stream. All right, figure your shit out. You figure it out. There wasn't all these resources where you could find out how to do it. You just had to figure it out and have your own personality. If you weren't personality or that good at it, you weren't gonna make it. And I don't think I would make it at this point now, but luckily I was able to convince people that I was funny. So I guess it was in the cards for me.
And it's like for me, like with streaming on YouTube, like I stream the show on YouTube, and I do my video game streams, my review, I do everything there. So it's like kind of like a central point for everyone to come and check it out. But then, when I'm streaming a game and I do long streams. I'll do 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. Hell, I've even done a 15-hour stream.
Woo, I don't know what that
it's
is.
like it's just I forgot what game I was playing. I was engrossed in it. I even forgot I had a chat going.
Wow, yeah.
And it's like I'm putting in that much time, and then YouTube's like, you know what? You breathe, so you're demonetized. So I'm like, I did this whole thing. And I'm getting nothing out of it. And I'm not one who's like always about the numbers or always about the money, but like it's you're investing your time into your work. Doing this is work. And when a platform punishes you, like I got demonetized. It was a stream, like for whatever reason, last couple of months, any video I put up instantly demonetized, or like Chips in the chat said he went to sleep and woke up and he gets demonetized. It's that, like, and a lot of bigger creators I know from ACG gaming, some of the tech YouTubers I know that are 1 million subs or more, they have the same problem. They're like, hey, I'm going over to Twitch, or I'm going over to Mixer or Facebook Gaming, because YouTube, we would love to do it here, but YouTube just,
it's crazy. It's really crazy that like the staff there is not like even trying to like do much about it. Like, and I have like kind of been in the background just like looking at stuff. And, I follow some the YouTube, like big heads of YouTube and all this kind of stuff. I was like, why are y'all doing this to the creators on your platform? Are you guys going to do something? They're like leaving to go other places. Like their main source is your platform. But I have no words for that. I have no idea. It's very strange. It's like, oh, we don't care. Whatever. They're dealing with that stuff. They can deal with it. So
and it's like with their whole thing is like, oh, we don't care because we have celebrities coming on our platform.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't treat the people who have been riding and dying for your platform and bringing revenue into it like crap. And I wish, I've reached out to some folks at YouTube like, hey, I'd like to have you on my show so we could talk about this, because I think it's a real issue. Like, I'm at a point now, I have a decent size of viewers every time I stream, but I've been considering strongly, do I need to just switch fully over to Twitch? Do I need to go to Mixer? Do I need, like, I know Phil Ranta from Facebook Gaming.
I just met him recently, yeah.
Yeah, like he's super chill dude. And I'm like, do I need to go over? I don't really want to go on Facebook, but what do I do? And it's like YouTube just doesn't. I know I'm bitching about it, but YouTube.
I get it. I get it.
It's frustrating as a creator. I'm like,
And it's so interesting. I was gonna say is that I think that like all platforms have that frustration too, because I've seen like mixer streamers getting frustrated that same way. I know I've got frustrated with Twitch where I felt like they were not being very being receptive to feedback or trying to work with people. So I can't talk about YouTube or Facebook, but I feel like a lot of creators do feel that same sort of frustration on platforms because sometimes it's just like they're so out of touch sometimes, especially where it's like they're working with so many people and there's so much money coming in. Why listen to this kid who has like not that many followers, or at least me, not that many followers, and then where I could be talking to this guy who's bringing in thousands and thousands of viewers to the platform. So yeah.
And then when it comes to like trying to transition stuff over from one platform to another, that's hard. Like, I'm like, I've got over 11,000, subscribers here on YouTube, but I've got, if I want to go to Twitch for streaming, are they going to come with me? Are the people that are watching here on YouTube? We got more people watching on YouTube right now than we do on Twitch, but would they go to Twitch if I went there? Would they go to Mixer? And would people who are supporting as like, doing donations or channel memberships on YouTube, would they go over to another platform? It's a gamble.
Yeah.
And it's like you're gambling. Like right now, I'm a full-time creator. I quit my job. I used to be a senior systems analyst at the primary hospital out here in Hawaii. And I quit that in September because I was working 90 hours a week.
Ooh.
It was insane. That and doing all this at the same time. So I quit that in September, and I'm very grateful that I quit because my entire team that I used to work with and work under me, they all caught COVID-19. Just and we were the telecommunications team, so we set up the phones and the internet and everything like that. So we would have to go into the patient rooms and stuff like that. My entire team, they all got it.
That's crazy.
They all got it. So I feel sad for them, but I feel it was a blessing I got out when I did. But I went from $100,000 a year to I'm getting by.
Yeah.
Doing content creation now. And YouTube is not helping at all. So
it's a crazy situation. Like I definitely know the full-time content creation world. What I was talking about when I used to work for McDonald's social media and I got laid off, and that's what I had to do for a few months. And I was struggling a lot. I ended up having to like suck it up and be like, you know what, Brandon, like you're gonna absolutely hate this, but you're gonna have to go right back and work into retail because like I was working doing social media stuff, but I couldn't find anything, and I had to go back to work in retail for however long. It was miserable. But luckily I was able to get out of that. When I did, I closed that door and I ran out. I was like, I'm coming back here unless I gotta buy tissue. I'm out here, Walgreens. See you later. I'm done. And luckily I haven't had to look back. And I'll say real quick, that's one of the things that I'm most proud of is me being able to get out of that job. And it's essential. That job is essential for people. And I get that. So it's not like a thing where I'm like talking crap about people who work there. It was me specifically. I knew how I felt when I worked there and how I was being treated and what I wanted to do with my life and what my passions were. And it was not to work there. And then when I finally was able to close that door and not have to do it anymore, it was a great day in my life. And I'm at this point in my career where I feel confident that I would not have to go back to working retail if I lost my job or something. Like I know I would be able to reach out and be like, hey, you know what? I don't have a job right now, but this is my credentials. This is what I've done before. And I think I would be very confident to be able to work somewhere else within the industry without having to worry about going back to Walgreens because I don't want to. I don't want to. But, I did my dues. No,
I even had a situation where beginning of this year, like there was a point when YouTube was just like even like regular content. You know, we had like another adpocalypse, which
oh yeah, I heard about that. I keep up with all this stuff. Yeah,
it happens way too much on YouTube,
Mm.
and it's like we had another adpocalypse, and I was doing pretty decent, and then for like January, February, it's like no, it was doing bad. So I was like, all right, I told my wife, all right, I'll go get a job. So I went and I did overnight inventory at Target, and I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
Man.
Things I don't miss.
I go in there. They're like, hey, you think about coming back to work here? No, but I'll find that toilet paper.
Yeah. It's always interesting when I used to go into my old store when I had to go pick up stuff, and people like was still follow me on Facebook or whatever, and they would be like, oh, so what are you doing now? You playing video games and stuff? Like, how'd that happen? I was like, I don't know, but I'm glad I'm not here. I'm glad I'm not here anymore. Yeah. But doing those jobs really taught me a lot about being very humble to people, and it also kind of realizing that when you have to do something, you can't be so picky about what you choose to do. Yeah. So that's why I was working there for as long as I did, because I had to make the ends meet and all that kind of stuff. But it motivated me to get out of there. So yeah.
And that speaks to the larger thing that I think a lot of creators who want to be a full-time streamer or a full-time content creator, they may not realize the amount of work that goes into it.
Taxes. I will say taxes right off the bat. And the reason why I just said that is because I when I was working for a company and I was technically a contractor, I had to pay my own taxes, and I forgot to do that. Then the next year, somebody got super big penalties and ended up having to pay back a lot in taxes. So I know if you're a full-time streamer, I know you got to be paying taxes for sure. Yeah.
Ooh,
it is.
Yeah.
Not good. Yeah. Which I that's one thing I really hope that I think a lot of creators don't realize that sometimes that they do have to pay taxes when it comes to this kind of stuff when they're doing full time. And insurance too. Woof. Yeah.
A lot of people don't. A lot of creators I've talked to, they're like, man, I wish I could leave my job and just go and do this full time. I'm like, yeah, but
you gotta be prepared for it. You gotta be prepared for it. Yeah. You gotta be prepared for it. That's why I know I couldn't do it again. Definitely not. Ooh. I did it for like a week, like a few weeks ago, and it was already like, because I was in between jobs because I just started this job. And so I was like in between jobs. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna treat myself as a full-time streamer. And I did it like for 2 days. I was like, I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. When can I start my job? I can't do it. But I do respect people who do it like yourself, doing it full time, because I just couldn't. I've tried it and it's hard for me.
Yeah.
It's because I need to be like, my brain is just, I live in Google Sheets, so that's probably why. So it's like I need to do something with Google Sheets. That will help me. That'll energize me for the day. So I'm a person who lives in Google Sheets. So if you send me an email with Google Sheets and having a joke in the Google Sheets, I will appreciate you. Yeah, it's like, hi Brandon, down each line. I will give you 10 points of respect for listening this far and doing that.
But I mean, but that's the thing though, is like, you know, I told my wife, I'm like, hey, when I quit my job last year, I'm like, I'm gonna give it a year, you know, for it to take off or to get stable. Right now, we're doing pretty good. I mean, for me, bills paid, getting by, it's doing good. But you know, if it gets to a point where it's like, hey, I got to go back into IT or I need to hit up Microsoft again, I'll do it.
Yeah,
you know, if we hit that point, I'm fine with it. But
it's good that you have a support system too, because a lot of people don't go into that at all. And I'm like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that. I couldn't do any of this by myself. Definitely not. Yeah, Because I mean, when I started trying to do the gaming website, luckily I was in a situation where I did have that support system that was helping me out, like in getting by, and that's why I was able to continue content creation while I was trying to figure out where I wanted to be. But it is hard to do it without like a great support system. So I will say kudos to you for that one for sure.
Yeah, like, and that's the other thing too. Like with this whole situation with COVID-19, and you know, with how that's been going on with companies letting go of a lot of their staff. Like my wife, the reason, because she was doing her full-time job, she's a manager of an orthopedic shoe store, and she was doing content creation, reviewing. Like she makes masks, like candy or rave masks. Like actually, let me grab one.
Let me see. This is perfect time.
I'll show you some of the stuff she's done.
All right.
So, yeah. So she, and that's her. Yeah, she works with.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was her station.
Yeah. So like she does stuff like this, where like.
Oh wow. Okay, those are cool.
Yeah. So like she actually, because we're friends with most of the people that were voice actors in Fire Emblem Three Houses. So when the guy who does Seth, he was actually like when they come out to Hawaii, they stay with us at our house. So she made that. She
that
did
is
a live
dope.
stream of that, and then like if anyone's into fairy tale, she did. For that.
That's so cool.
And she, like, I was telling her, I'm like, yo, you got a gift, because
wow, that's Sub-Zero, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So like I told her, I'm like, you got a gift, and you know, do something with it. And like, so she's doing that. Like she sells masks on the side. She does live streams where she's making them. And I'm like, you know, she does that. She reviews, like she did a review of the chair from Technosport that, you know, they sent her. She reviews video games. She streams video games. And I'm like, look, like, I know, because, you know, her company laid her off, and I'm like, right now, since we can't do anything, just go ham. Yeah,
that is. Yeah, that's another thing. I've been telling friends, like I'm really big into like the DJ scene in Chicago and like the local DJs and stuff, and they are all out of gigs because obviously all the bars and nightclubs are closed. So I've been telling them, y'all get on live streams, like get on Twitch, like you should be like, this is a bigger opportunity. Like you have no gigs right now at all. If you are not streaming or doing something right now, you're doing yourself a big disservice or disservice. Sorry, disservice by not using your talent and showcasing it to a brand new audience who would never hear you at this point. So why not do something to help further your brand at this point? Like a good example that I could say has been very successful. Like a lot of the drag queens out of Chicago and other drag queens have been like doing digital drag shows, and they're getting tips from people because they know what's going on. And so a lot of the bars are doing the same thing that are closed, and like they're, you know, tipping for their staff who are out of work right now, and they're getting tips from like patrons who would be in the bars who can't go. So I mean, this is a very sucky time, but you know, I've tried really hard to make it a positive by trying to invest even more into my content creation and streaming and stuff like that, along with my job too. And it's been very helpful. This week I won't count as an example because I've been kind of lazy this week. But I've been really good about streaming and getting a schedule and being on time, and then like trying to even do more content out there, which like I'm already trying to work with some agencies to see if we could do some stuff together and try to get myself out there. Because once this is all over, at least something was progressed. You know, I've been sitting in the house all the time. Might as well do something while I'm here.
Right.
So I've been very suggesting to people to learn about the streaming tech and where to do it at, and trying to use their talents to showcase themselves to a bigger audience, which that's always a plus. and then also keeping up with their craft. So it's not like this ends and then you don't even know how to DJ anymore. So yeah. And a lot of my friends have been doing it, which is it's been pretty nice to see some new people on the platform who may not have seen it ever without this situation. So yeah.
And and it's just, I know a lot of people are going stir crazy right now, and
I haven't though yet, which is I've been used to working from home.
Right?
Yeah. When you've been when you're in your house like content creating, it's like, you know what, I'm always here anyway, So I could imagine people who don't play video games or not use this. That's why I check on my friends every few days. It's like, are you okay? Do you need anything? I know you're not used to being at home, but yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
I could imagine. I miss being to go out and dance.
I missed that. I missed that.
Either bachata or whatever. Like I miss it.
I think a lot of people do, for sure. I definitely do. I ended up buying one of those laser machines that they had. I bought one of those. So I'm gonna have those in my living room, like on a Saturday. I was like, I'm gonna have something to drink, and I'm having a little dance party with myself. I did that last Saturday, and it was pretty successful. I had a great time. And I woke up hungover on Sunday. I was like, okay, I went a little too hard. And it's just me. I didn't get that fun with myself. All right. But yeah, it is something definitely I miss. But I'd rather people be safe and not be sick than having to go out and trying to have that little bit of joy. So yeah.
How is it where you are? Like, how are people adhering to like the social distancing and the staying at home? Because here in Hawaii, man, people are every day people are having block parties.
Oh wow.
And it's crazy. People still going to the beach. They're like, it's so crazy. I've spoken out on it before and I've gotten flack for saying it, but I'm like, look, I'm part Hawaiian too. I can speak on this too. But a lot of people here like to say like, oh, that's a mainland thing. That's not something we need to bother about.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's like, no, this is a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Stay home.
As fast as it has grown in the last month or so, all over now, where it just started in one place and it's got here quick. I don't know how people are not taking it that serious and also wanting things to reopen back up so quickly. Yeah. Like, I know this won't happen, but like in Chicago, if stuff were to open back up, I'm not going anywhere still for a very long time, because it's going to be a second wave, and I'm good on that. Because it's gonna be everybody who's inside, and they're gonna run out and try to do all this stuff, and they're not gonna be practicing anything and just doing whatever, and it's gonna happen even worse. But the first week, I'll say Chicago was people were when they told people to do the social distancing. People were still going out to the beach and stuff and doing that. Then they forced everybody that they had to be at home and closed all the beaches and all the bars and stuff. And so people were at home. I will say I've had to, and I haven't really gone too far out of my neighborhood. But like, going outside, people are like keeping their distance. I mean, of course, you'll see people without masks and all that kind of stuff. Which some of them will still walk into you. And I'm like, okay, I know you don't respect you move. Like, I'm respecting it. You sit over there. I had to do that this week, and some girl was just like walking towards me. I'm like, could you not? Like, you see me with this big old mask on. I'm not trying to deal with you. But no, people have been definitely, I think, more respectful and know what's going on, and especially in the grocery stores, trying to keep distance. But I everybody feels it. It's weird when you have to go out and be around people, and it's like you're stepping away, like you're walking away from somebody because you don't want to be that close to them and all that kind of stuff. It is a weird time. And that's why I keep telling the people, if they thought when this first happened, it was only going to last 2 weeks, oh boy, we're in a month later. Yeah, I don't see this ending for a while. So that's why I've already prepared myself to really focus on streaming and content creation and trying to branch myself out into other stuff. And that's why the podcast stuff, I really wanted to get involved with that too again, because I thought it was a good time to do that because I have more time in the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not?
And it's like, people really think, I've talked to a lot of people that think that like once this is over, they're like, yeah, everything's going to go back to normal. I'm like, no.
Nope. especially people who've lost their jobs and don't have anything to go back to. I have a lot of friends who obviously are waiters and don't have anything. I don't know what they're doing and how they're surviving, but people who lost their jobs can't pay rent. I am so grateful that I've been able to be in this position where I can work from home and not have to worry about not having a job. And I got this job literally when it was all closing off. So it was like if I was gonna start looking for a new job during COVID, definitely that's gonna be hard. But but according to everything I've seen, the gaming industry is going okay. Like things are people are at home playing games and people are using that as a way to release stress, which it always has been. But we obviously the gaming industry is shifting where it has to, but it's not slowing down. So that's a good thing. So we're still getting games. We're still getting games.
Are we still good for time? You still good?
I mean, we're good. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still good.
You having a good time?
Yeah. I was like, should I pull out my wine real quick? No, I was good.
Go for it.
No. I've been this professional this entire time. I'll have a drink after.
Hey, I can go get my bottle of wine.
No,
get your, we can have a glass and talk story. So let's speak on this because this is something I saw you tweet about, and it's something I fully agree with. But let's speak on this small streamer mentality.
Okay.
So
I was just thinking about this yesterday too. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So no, I was gonna say, like, why the hell do people embrace that mentality and brand themselves? Oh, I'm a small streamer, a small creator, and then they got this sense of entitlement of you have to support me or follow or self promote and other people's stuff, and it's crazy, man. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, and I think this is such a weird. Okay, speaking of small streamer, it's a weird context because like we'll talk about like we don't want people to call themselves small streamers, but we do sometimes have to be like, speaking of small streamers who is smaller than Ninja, that's different. But the reason that conversation came up, which it goes into the point of what you're talking about, was I wrote a tweet on Twitter, just like I don't know, I was writing something about like something random. It was, it had nothing to do with streaming, I don't think. And someone responded to the tweet with their link to their channel and says, "Please come and watch and follow." That's it. Nothing else. Just responded to that. And this was like a day later, like they responded to it. And I was like, okay. So like I responded back and I said, "Hey, bud, just want to let you know this is probably not a good way to promote your stream, especially on a tweet that has nothing to do with you streaming. It's an easy way for people not wanting to, talk to you or work with you and this kind of stuff, blah, blah." And so his response back to me was, "Oh, don't hate, bro. I'm a small streamer. You're supposed to do that." And then told me that he was like, "I don't have money to promote, so this is how I do it." And so I went, and then it was that tweet about that. And I was talking about like, if you're paying money to advertise for yourself, and if it's not like already established brand, like we're obviously, if it's like you're paying promotion for established brand, whatever. If it's like you're paying money as a streamer to promote your stream, that is not good. You're wasting money. Because if you're not organically getting people in there, you're not doing a good job then. And so that's why I wrote in that tweet. It's like, instead of asking people to come and follow you, entice them to want to follow. Like, why should they be following you? What are you doing over there that's going to make somebody want to do it? Why do I have to do it? Like I'm not going to like every streamer's content on who's on Twitch. And I know there's a lot of people who won't watch my content on Twitch because it's not for them. But yeah, there is the whole mentality of like support smaller streamers, which I get I get the sentiment, but it's the fact that no one is guaranteed absolutely any support on this platform. No one has to get it from anybody. So, And what I have always noticed is that a lot of people who respond to things that don't have to really deal with them, but they'll go like, "Oh, I'm a small streamer, so like no one's gonna pay attention to me." You usually can go to those people's streams and see that they do have like 1 or 2 viewers in there, but they kind of ignore the fact because it's not double digits or it's not thousands of viewers. So they just are like, "Oh, well, I don't really have viewers, so who cares?" And then it's like, "Oh no, you have 1 or 2 people that you're actually talking to, but you are like discrediting them because they are not you don't have like triple digits or all that kind of stuff." And this is another thing that I've always brought up when people have which I will say now people don't do it anymore. Like send me emails and proposals with things saying I'm a smaller streamer. They don't do it anymore because they know I talk about it so much, which is good. I'm really happy that people don't do that and listen to me. But at a previous job, I would get emails from people saying, "Hey, I'm a smaller streamer. I want to check out this game. You probably won't pay attention to me, but like I just wanted to send you a note anyway." And it's like, okay, well, you already discredited yourself in the beginning of this email from the beginning. Why would I want to work with you at this point? Because it's like, oh, well, this person doesn't even believe in their content, so why should I do it? So that's what's speaking from an industry standpoint. But just like as a viewer, when people tell me I have to support them in doing anything, and it's like, why do I have to do that? Like, can you explain to me why? Oh, well, because I'm a small streamer. Okay, cool. I was a small streamer once. Okay, well, and what? Like, can you tell me more? Because like right after I wrote that tweet, the next day I was streaming and someone came in and asked me to host them. And then I was like, this is your first time here. And then they followed me after I said that. I was like, so you weren't following me in the first place, and you came into my stream and told me to host you. So you want me to support you, but you weren't even supporting me until after you said that. Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. I think that's the one that kind of went, that a lot of people saw, where I was just like, I don't have to do shit. But it's true. And sometimes I do have these really great talks with my community, especially when I have a little bit of wine, and those kind of situations happen where people will come in and say little things. And because I treat my chat exactly how I treat people in real life, which I think a lot of people do, but I really treat it like that. And it's like, when you come in to my stream and it say something so crazy to me, I will treat you right back. So yeah, when that person said that, I was just like, you weren't even following my channel in the first place, and you just expect me to do it because you asked me. Do you even know who I am, or did you just? But we see that. We see it all the time. People going through different categories and then promoting their channels, or just like coming out of nowhere, just linking their channels to someone's chat, and like it's taken away for somebody's show because you want the attention. And how many times does someone else in someone else's chat go like, "Oh, this person left their link. I'm gonna click and I'm gonna follow that." That rarely happens, I'm sure, because even if someone did that, posting a link in someone else's chat, that's still not telling anybody anything about you. You just look like a jerk at that point. So it's like, it doesn't make much sense. Like throwing a link, bamboozle, or go to twitch.tv/bamboozle. Okay. I'm already watching something. Why would I watch? Like, why would I leave here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would I leave here? That is I feel like that is the easiest example I can now explain when people post like their links to other people's chats is posting a link and like as if I'm supposed to respond and go like, okay, I'm leaving what I'm already doing. I already put my plate, I put my food here. I'm already enjoying this TV show. Okay, let me get up and go watch you now. And I have no idea who you are. Why are you in my house? Why are you over here? I didn't ask for this. That's what I'm gonna have to make this a Twitter clip, because that actually is a great example. Officially, I feel good about that.
I see. Even you got the audience. They are dying. Yo, it's true though. I don't get that, man. Like I've had people do that. They'll pop up in my streams. I've had people do that. They're like, "Oh, go follow me here. Go do this. I'm stream." Or you get the ones that pop up say, "Hey guys, I'm about to stream."
Oh yeah, those people too.
And I'm like,
it's weird. I've got a little bit more lenient towards like those people, especially if it's people that I know from my chat who have like, I may not know their stream, but they like may have come in and be like, okay, I was streaming, whatever. And I'm like, okay. But if it's like a person come out of nowhere, it's like, oh, yeah, I just finished streaming right now. Just popping in here. Never talked in this chat before. How's this stream going? Oh, yeah, I just streamed this game 2 seconds ago. How are you doing over here? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go leave and stream. See you later. And pretty much bad. But my mods are definitely, they are on it. Like they know when I get irritated, and because they know when I get irritated because they're irritated.
Yeah.
So, and I've always told them I'd never question anything that they do because they already know everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if if you're irritated, I'm not gonna question it unless it's something where it's like, okay, let me look into it. They'll ban somebody. It's just like, oh sorry. You should have said that, like I'm sure they did like that. I didn't like it either. I'm following what they're telling me. They tell me what to do.
Yeah, I give them the Miss America pageant wave.
Yeah. I have greatly invested in the Elgato Stream Deck, which has been amazing to do little scenes I have now with like the zoom ins when stuff has happened, which I have enjoyed those quite a lot when people come in. Yeah, it's been great.
Oh, and that speaks to like I've had some people ask me like, oh, what are the requirements to become a mod, for your streams and for your channel? And I'm like, look, I gotta know you. We gotta mesh. You gotta know what I will and won't tolerate on the streams. I need to know that you're not gonna put up with bullshit either. And other than that, cool. Because it's like I've seen some people, and I can't speak to Twitch, but I can speak to like streamers on YouTube where it's like, oh, if you become a patron or a channel member, you get to become a mod. I'm like, no, you're not.
No.
Oh
no. Oh no, definitely not. That would work. My channel could not work. Could not work like that. Definitely not. Sorry. Like I appreciate the support, but that is not gonna happen.
Right? I'm like, no, like my whole I've seen it too. Like I've seen like some are like, oh, my $1 tier, you're a mod. I'm like, that's trouble. I've seen some people can't handle that power at all.
Oh yeah. And I've been so grateful. I've had the same mods for like 3 or 4 years. I've had one of my moderators. He's like one of my best friends on Twitch. At this point, we've known each other for 5 years, and he's been there for like forever. We just actually celebrated his birthday on Twitch the other day. But like, yeah, my moderators have been the same folks for like 3 or 4 years. And the thing about it is that like I don't like. My schedule is all over the place, and I never require them to be there. They're not all there at the same time. It's just like if I stream, I know at least one of them are gonna be there, and because I can usually handle it. There's probably been like maybe 2 or 3 times in my streaming career that I was like completely by myself, and then like stuff was happening. I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? But I think if you could get like a mod, like if you get mods who are just like, they don't have to be there all the time, but like they will be there when they can, and you have enough of them where they just can go in and out, and they don't have to be sitting there and like making conversation happening. You're good, but that's why I feel like a lot of my content, and then my viewers like me because like it's a one-on-one conversation most of the time because we're talking about like what's going on with them, what's going on with me, what's happening in the game. We're cracking jokes. We're talking about my big old forehead. We're talking about like all kinds of things. So just,
Hey, at least your community is not roasting you the way mine does. Mine's roast me ever since. Okay, so I shaved. I went bald. Like I started shaving my head December last year because I don't know if you know this. I'll share it. Maybe some folks don't know this. I'm 4 years in remission. I used to have colorectal cancer.
Congratulations.
So coming out, during the treatments, coming out of it, a lot of my hair just starts falling out randomly. So I'm like, man, fuck it, just cut it all off. So I started shaving it, and so to make light of it, because I can make fun of myself and some of the stuff I do and say, my accent, everything like that, and so my audience, they're like, "Oh, you got a baby face." So they like, "Oh, baby face." So it's like I laugh at it, and it's like I talk to them one-to-one. We talk on stream, off stream, on Discord, social media, wherever, and I just treat them like family, like friends. And it's
yeah. When it comes to that point, that's always the best part. Yeah.
right. And it's like one of the things like I tell people like the most amazing thing is when you can establish relationships with your audience, because when they rock with you like that, that's great.
Yeah. That's why I feel like a lot of the support I've gotten, especially on Twitch, which I mean, I really do appreciate the people who support me on Twitter and follow me on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like the people who support me on Twitch really get to see me because they actually get to speak to me and talk to me. They're not just reading the words I'm saying; they're actually like seeing my personality and how I react. So that's why it's always cool to see people who come from Twitter and then they come into my stream and they're like, "Oh, wow. Okay. Now I see why you act like that on Twitter, because this is how you are in person." Like, yes, it's not different. This is same old thing, but it's even amplified even more because of the fact that you can actually hear me scream very loudly. So, yeah.
So we had a question on Twitch from Cerndale. They
asked,
hey,
I know Cerndale from my stream.
So they asked, as a very small streamer, it can be hard to fill the silence when there's nobody in chat to spur conversations. If you experienced that when you were starting out, what did you do about it?
I experienced that now. To be honest, that feeling is never it does not go away. I'll say I do have really awesome viewers and stuff, but sometimes chat can die sometimes, and I gotta talk it out. So when it comes to that, I've been at those moments where you first start and people are, you don't have anybody to talk to at the time. I've always tried to just talk out the game and talk out my thoughts out loud. But that feeling will not ever change, because there'll be moments, especially if you do have viewers in there, the chat's gonna die and people will be lurking, and you gotta do something. You can't just sit there the whole time. And I mean, there's some streamers who I don't know how they get away with it and just play games and don't say anything. Don't know how that happens, because I could do it. But you have to make conversation. And what I've always done was try to think of a open-ended question to kind of say out loud. And when it starts getting dead, "Oh, what do you guys think about this game, or what's going on with you," or this kind of stuff. And then sometimes people will kind of come out of lurk and start talking and stuff. But that feeling will not ever go away of not having people to talk to, because dead chats happen often. And it's not because people are watching most of the time, it's because people are lurking. I know I lurk in a lot of chats, because I know if sometimes, especially if people already know me, sometimes I want to watch, but if I say something, then people are going to want to interact with me. And sometimes I just want to sit there and just watch the stream, so I don't say a lot. But my tips for that is just always talking out the games and your process of what is going on in the game, in the stream, because I've always thought that how it works, especially if you're just starting and you're sitting at maybe a 0 to 2 viewer count, you sometimes have only a few seconds to probably a minute if someone comes in there to look at your channel. And if you're not talking or saying anything or not giving any interesting viewpoint for them to want to keep watching, they're gonna go in and out and be right out of there. Because you could see someone have a really fancy overlay and come in, and that's the thing about Twitch now, is that everybody has all this great high production quality, but if they're not interacting or doing anything about it, they're losing people quickly, just like that, and don't even know it.
Yeah.
And this is why I always try to tell people maybe get friends involved, especially if you're already a part of Twitch communities or streaming communities. You don't have to, obviously, don't ever say that you're a streamer, obviously. But you gain friends in that community, especially if you go outside the stream and start talking in the Discord, you find people that you like. That's really good ways of connecting with people, and just be yeah, I do stream. If you want to check it out, here you go. And not in the stream, but that's why networking is important, and being involved in chats as much as you can, because of the fact that you are able to connect with other people and maybe they're, streaming too, and that's a good way to support each other. When I was trying to become a partner, especially when I was playing Resident Evil, I was into a lot of Resident Evil streamers chats, and I was always in there hanging out all the time. And making sure that I was like making my presence known that like, hey, I'm here to support you too, and all this kind of stuff. And just had a little camaraderie, or that's the wrong word, but like a little group where we were just like supporting each other and did all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
and I know, folks like you and I, like I can already tell, like, you can talk, can talk. I can talk. I love it. I love the energy. We can bounce off of each other. Literally, I mean, even if we didn't have an audience watching, we could probably just carry, like, if say like we're streaming solo, we could literally just carry it just with ourselves. I talk to myself a lot. A lot of people are like, are you crazy? Kind of.
I'm sure that like if somebody walked into this apartment, they're like, oh, who are you talking to? It's like, oh, the internet. I've already gotten over that fact where it's just like if people hear me talking through the walls, they're like, you're talking a lot. And I don't hear anybody talking back. I was like, the internet. That's who I'm talking to.
It's like, like when I stream, sometimes it gets to a point sometimes in my streams, like my audience will be honest with me sometimes. They're like, look, I don't even care about the game you're streaming. Like, I'm here for you. I'm here for your personality or something. Like there'll be sections like I was streaming, was it yesterday? No, Monday. I was streaming Ease Origins on PS4.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yo, the game is so good. So I was streaming that, and most of the people are not into it. And then I started doing a session where I call it the Holy Campfire. And so, the Holy Campfire is basically when I grab my Deluxe Edition of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, nice.
And then I turn on the church choir music and I start preaching. I'm like, my brothers and sisters out there. And I'm just like talking. I'll talk about anything, man. I will talk about something dumb somebody tweeted about me. I'll be talking like a reverend. And they're over here like, yo, this dude has no chill. Or I'll talk about my club escapades from my 20s. And just the wild, random shit I used to get into. And they're over here like, yo, we were here. You were playing a game? At what point were you playing the game? We were here for the story.
That's why it's really good if you get to a point where your audience it's not there for the game. They're there for you. That's when it's really good. And I'll even say, like, I had a little bit of issue in the beginning because people were only there for the game, and if I wasn't playing the game that they wanted, they were gone. And I didn't want a community of people who were like that. Because, like, to me, honestly, I don't know. I just it's hard to gauge people, especially when it's like they only are there for, you only see them when you play a certain game. But I still see that now. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like, oh, you're only here because I'm playing this game. Okay, thanks. Because like, I don't care what people say. Like, as a content creator, you do feel feelings and you do feel hurt when like you only see people like are only talking to you because you're playing a certain thing that they like and they're not there for you, and all that kind of stuff. But I've got to a point where I've gotten in my head. It's like, okay, I know I'm playing this game. I'm probably gonna see this set of people show up, and when they show up, I'm nice, and then I'm like, all right, we'll see you in 2 or 3 years when I play this again. Which kind of ties into the other thing that I always sucks and always have to remind people, especially doing content creation and streaming, is the fact that you may deal with a lot of different viewers that you have personal connections with who will just disappear and you never see again. And it sucks. We're obviously built as humans to like have these connections with people and at least having some closure to like, hey, what happened to this person? Like, where'd they go? And you will deal with hundreds of people who will come in and out of your life where it's just like, you know what? They don't want to watch anymore. They want to watch somebody else, or they just don't want to watch Twitch anymore. They're not interested in it. It's just something that you have to get over, but you can't really. I know I don't. Like, there's certain people who I always have memories of who are in my stream. And then sometimes I'll see them in other chats that I haven't seen them in years. And I'm like, oh, so you're over here and you just don't want to watch anymore. Okay. So it's a weird like mental thing where you have to get to a point where you can feel the feelings, but you can't take it too personal. But that's why like you have to have like certain levels of like, I guess, friendship slash relationship with viewers. Like I have certain people who I'm like, okay, that really is my friend. Like my friend who I was saying, who's like one of my mods for like 5 years, like he has my number. Like we text like every day. So like he's like a friend. Like I care about him, making sure he's okay and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, the people who watch my stream, I do have certain relationships with them where it's like, you know, I care about all of them, but I know that some are gonna just never come back and just disappear, and I will never see them again. And I just kind of have to get over that. Yeah. Very sad.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not sure if you've had this experience too, where because this is, I'm gonna have to tread carefully in how I say this. Ooh, brain to mouth filter. Hit that hit that filtration. Okay, here we go. You ready? All right.
Yes.
So, have you had this experience where, you know, you're sharing, I guess you could say you're sharing an audience with, say maybe a friend or an acquaintance, a streamer, and they don't stream at certain times, and then they decide to start streaming the exact same fucking time every single time you stream. And so your audience becomes a little divided, like, oh, okay, I guess.
Oh, who to go to?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't had a situation exactly like that, but I did have a situation that was more like there were streamers who got mad at me because I was just streaming, and they happened to also be streaming at the same time. And I was not like doing, like, you know, these streamers are older than me. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like streaming because I'm out of work, and they're getting mad at me, like as if I was stealing the viewers from them. And I was like, I didn't tell these people to be here. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to do. But no, I mean, I could understand that, but like, that's the thing though. There's so many different personalities like in streaming where you will meet people who are very opportunists, who could be like that, who are like, oh, well, he's streaming at that time. He has all these viewers. I'll stream at this time too. I haven't experienced that, but I have experienced like opportunist streamer friends who have like
that really we went
well
there.
I'll say opportunist friends. We'll say friends because I thought they were friends at the time, but they ain't anymore. Who were kind of trying to climb onto the moving train. And everybody kind of will see those kinds of people who are just like, oh, you know, like you're doing well. Like, let me get on there too and see what I could do. But yeah, I had a really bad, horrible experience on Twitch where when I first started streaming, I was really in the Resident Evil community, and I talk about this all the time, which I think is a kind of a warning sign for people who are just starting, and not to get too wrapped up in like people's egos and like thinking that everybody is like really your friend, and also thinking that like, you know, like the more popular streamers in that category are better than you, because newsflash, they're not. They're people like you playing video games on the internet. So it's not like, you know, they're not Jay-Z or Beyonce. So, you know, but I used to be like that where I was streaming Resident Evil a lot. So I gained a lot of the Resident Evil community in there, and from different streamers, but we're like kind of like, you know, supporting each other, or so I thought that was the case. And so what ended up happening was that some of the bigger streamers were getting mad at me because they felt like their viewers were being taken away because I was streaming. They were watching me and stuff. And I was just like, how? I can't do anything about that. Like, I can't tell people to come watch me or whatever and do that. I don't do that. And it got to the point where it became like this really dramatic thing where like I was kind of like ostracized out of this group. And they like were telling, you know, I've heard stories and I know what happened. Of people telling other people, don't watch Brandon. I don't want you watching his channel. You should be watching my channel, this and that, blah, blah. And I would go in other people's chats and talk. And like, I was like ran out of chats by people who were like starting this kind of like, this outcasting session with me. And it was like really high school. And that's what was my first real experience with that kind of situation with Twitch. And I was like kind of ostracized out of this group and this community that I really grew to love. But if it wasn't for that, I would never have the attitude that I have now, which was like after that, I was like, fuck that. I'm not gonna sit here and try to please these other people, please these streamers so they would like notice me. I'm gonna do my own thing. And I want a community of people who are there to hang out with me, not because I'm playing this game and they're just here. And so that's why I started streaming Outlast a lot, and I started to gain a lot of my community from like interacting with them on Outlast and all that kind of stuff. And it just like clicked. Like I needed that situation to happen to really learn how to measure friendships and measure my relationships with other streamers, especially within the same category that I stream in, and learning that they're just the same people as me and not, this higher being that they're great. They're gracing their presence on me because they're in my chat talking to me, because we're all people,
Yeah.
So that was a long-winded answer to that.
No,
but
I love it. I love it. Yeah. No, I mean, I've had that experience as well of, the whole basically like getting excommunicated from a group and everything like that. And I think this happened about 2 years ago. I was cool. Or I thought I was friends with this guy. He's a bigger Nintendo YouTuber. For the sake of safety, I'll say essence of player. You reverse that and you've got player essence. Anyway, I thought I was friends with this guy, and I know a lot of people, many in our chat and many in my Discords are big fans of him, and I've spoken out about it before because I was a smaller channel, I was growing, I was getting my footing, and a lot of his viewers would watch mine, and he would help so long as I was supporting financially, and it got to a point where one of the mutual viewers asked me a question about Smash Brothers being a fighting game, and I'm just like, well, originally, no. It's kind of evolved into it. The fans have kind of forced it to be that, but I don't think originally that was the intention for it. And because I had said that and other things like that YouTuber was demanding that I come on his show and debate him while I was at work.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
that's serious.
I'm like, it's not that serious. And then his fan base really took it above and beyond. And he's the kind of person that he stokes it and he'll step back and watch it just. So it's it got to the point where I had to just get off of Twitter because I was constantly getting tagged and add messages and DMs, and then it got to the point where because I wouldn't go on the show, and I told him like, look, I'm not gonna go to the show. This is ridiculous. This is my opinion. So it got to the point where his community started sending death and rape threats to my wife.
Whoa!
And
oh my God!
My mother and other family members on Twitter. And so when I called him out about that and say, look, all you got to do is tell your community, like, if they really rock with you, tell them to stop. At no point did he do that. He kept pushing and stoking it. And so when I called him out and I publicly called him out to damage control, then he went and started smearing me. So a lot of the gaming community, most of the people with Screenwave, I'll say, canceled me. So that was an experience, and I had reached out to I think Ashley Christ.
Oh yeah.
She's a good friend of mine. I know her boyfriend went through counseling recently, and I shared that with him. I was talking to Dylan about that, and I'm like, I know what it's like to be canceled because over Smash Brothers, I got canceled.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's like, it's just something like, I lost my entire, like, my sub count plummeted all my viewers and stuff just went away. So I had to build up from scratch. And it's like some creators take that stuff way too seriously.
And the other thing about it is that, especially if like people are sending death threats who are like your supporters and all that kind of stuff, that's when you have to step in and say something, because that is serious. And especially if something were to happen, that's on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a reflection of you. And I mean, luckily I've never had to deal with like that kind of stuff. But I mean, yeah, it is every creator's responsibility to not have their supporters doing that kind of stuff. I don't care if they're like controversial or not. There's no excuse for somebody getting death threats like that, especially on their behalf by other people. That's crazy. Yeah.
And it's like, and I've in each and every time, like I'm open about the story just because like I use it as an example of this is the extreme you don't want to go to. You don't, if you're a creator, you have a community, they need to know that
it's not okay.
That's not okay. And I know a lot of people that, people that watch me that, in my Discord that kick it, like they look up to him and they like him. And I'm like, he makes great content, but and they're like, oh, you and him should mend the fence. I'm like, I can't mend the fence.
You can't go back after that, especially if someone didn't say anything, and especially it being that serious. That's some pretty serious stuff, and for someone to kind of like go like, oh, whatever. Yeah. I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even think that's worth the time, especially if they don't care at that point it's happening. They're not worth the time to try to do any sort of forgiveness at that point. Yeah.
But it's and it's a thing, just for the audience.
Yeah.
I'm not telling y'all to go and do nothing. Just look, y'all motherfuckers don't go and do shit. Okay? I'm just saying.
Listen to what we're saying. Don't do nothing.
Don't do nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't need to have a situation where y'all say, hey, Mekel, see what had happened was. No. You know that. But it's just a situation where, like, if you have a community and if they're getting out of line as the creator, if it's your community, you got to step in and say something. Don't stoke the fire. It's like I've seen some situations where some folks in my community have said, stepped out of line on some stuff, and I'll step up and like, hey, yo, cut that shit. No, we not only for the fact that I communicate with you, but you're also representing me.
Yeah, which is very true. Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's crazy. But switching to more positive note.
Yeah.
I know we went down the dark side.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do we have? So let's talk about content creators and how they can utilize social media.
Ooh, okay.
And how imperative is it to study and master social media to grow yourself and establish yourself as a brand?
Oh, okay, perfect. So first thing I'll say, don't hashtag a bunch of stuff on Twitter. Number one, don't do that. But I think if you are a creator, it is very important to be invested in social media. That is how you gain organic growth. I honestly do not know. I wouldn't even know how a streamer would grow on like Twitch or YouTube or anything without posting anything anywhere else besides just streaming just to the channel. You know what I mean? Like at that point, I think someone like who's just like streaming on the platform, they're probably just doing it for fun, which is fine. Like if you do that for fun, that's cool. But if it's the point where you're trying to actually grow, you got to invest in social media. And like I suggest like taking a quick like online course or looking up YouTube videos on social media marketing, because that is a really huge thing it's constantly changing all the time. I know like Twitch themselves, they have literally a course on social media that I help them out with on how to going live and talking about your stream and all that, where it's just not your whole tour is full of going live, come here. Which one tip that I'll always say to people, especially if you're streaming on Twitch or use content creation any sort of way, always use clips or funny moments from your channel and using that as content for going live or also just like just after stream content as well. I tend to do that a lot, especially throughout the day. You'll probably see 3 or 4 or 6 clips throughout the day, which is a little bit too much. Sometimes I get a little crazy because sometimes I'll be watching the clip. I was like, oh, that's funny. I'm just gonna post it. I think this is fun. I'm just gonna post it. But it's really important for the people who may not catch your stream, but when they see a clip that was really funny, it makes them go like, oh wow, that's really cool. I should have been there to watch it. Let me go in there and follow the channel and do that now. And I'm gonna give people a really quick exclusive that I just learned about that actually has been pretty helpful, especially if you're a Twitter user. So if you are on Twitter, hopefully you have your analytics enabled. Most people have that off by default, so make sure you turn it on to use this feature. But when you have that turned on, there's a feature that should pop up that's called the Media Studio on Twitter. So you go on there, and then you can upload a video, you can upload GIFs or whatever. I usually do a video. So what I usually do is I post like a funny video that I know I want to post for my going live tweet. So in there, it lets you like type out the content like as it's a regular tweet, but it gives you an option to actually like click more, and you can post your link to your channel on there. And there's like an option where if someone like looks at the video, there's a little button that pops up that says watch on Twitch now, or it will say visit on Twitch now. Yeah. I just learned this recently. And like, so if you have a going live tweet, and then people are able to click on there, and it'll take them right to your Twitch channel, and they can watch from there. With the first day I did it, and someone clicked on it, and they clicked on the video, and they're like, yeah, I was watching the video, and I just clicked it. How did you do that? Yeah. So it's something I just learned recently. And it's a great way of getting people who are not watching, but are like, okay, well, let me click on this video. Oh, he's live right now. Let me go look, even though it says it, but some people don't even read that. It's worked a lot, especially if I'm trying to direct people directly to something. Because obviously, when someone clicks on the video for Twitter, they want to hear the sound, and that little pop up that says visit on Twitch now or visit wherever now, it's in there, so they'll see it right away. Yeah. So that's a little thing I learned, but definitely clipping new content for sure. Interacting with other streamers or your viewers is always good. I always say post about your personality. I post memes all the time about streaming culture all the time, because the thing about me is that I know what my audience likes, and they like memes about streaming. So I am always looking at like reaction videos or GIFs or all that kind of stuff. And so when I start thinking of like I want to post something funny, I'll just sit there and go through like my here's another thing I use. The bookmark option on Twitter. People don't usually do that, but I have a whole bookmark of just like reaction videos and GIFs that I've seen like on like tweets and that I can use for a thing. I'll just go through that bookmark list and be like, oh, you know what would be funny with this video? How would it relate to stream culture? That'd be funny. And I make up a funny joke in my head, and then I use the video as like the reaction to the caption, and then people like it because they relate to it because it's like it's funny. It's, you know what I mean? Everybody's been through a situation where someone's come in their chat and like self-promoted, and a funny video kind of showcasing that. That's me showcasing my personality on Twitter is by like posting memes and that. But yeah, definitely showcasing yourself and then not having it just be the same content over and over again. And then interacting with people. Asking questions is a really good one. Like I ask a lot of questions because you get really good responses back, and especially if it's like definitely streaming related, because it helps me because I find out new information I didn't know about. Like half my PC setup I learned because people were responding with stuff that they had, and I was like, oh shit, I should check this out.
Right.
Yeah.
So and you know, do you mind explaining why it's bad to just flood any tweet with 50 million hashtags? Like, so
I'll say for Twitter, okay, I'll say for Instagram, obviously Instagram wants hashtags, you know, that's separate from that. Twitter, I think it's hashtags can be used in a useful way when it actually is meaning for something that people are actually clicking on. Like, for a good example, when people are looking for game jobs, there is actually a hashtag that's game jobs, and like, people post under those positions, game jobs, so people could click on it and find it really easily. When it comes to like streaming and stuff, like hashtagging small streamer, hashtagging Twitch, hashtag live now, hashtag watch me, hashtag I'm a streamer. You know what I mean? Definitely is like it just looks physically it looks not clean. It just looks not great. If it's like, okay, I'm playing Final Fantasy 7 and they have a hashtag and it's like clearly there, I would, I understand that kind of stuff, but it just looks ugly. People don't click on it. And when you see a bunch of hashtags, it doesn't really entice you to want to click on it. So I think it's because of how people's like see stuff on Twitter, and and hashtags look very off because they're a different color than the like colored regular text. That's how I see it as. Like when I see a bunch of hashtags, I kind of avoid it. And I don't know if anybody else feels that way sometimes, but especially if it's a bunch of hashtags, definitely not great. And I know a lot of interesting folks who are just like, yeah, when I see that hashtag, I'm stepping away, because usually it has that stigma of that someone who is not not like really trying to market their brand. They're just like hoping and trying to gain support and expecting it, and not really doing their research on, okay, so why is this hashtag not working? Are people actually looking through this hashtag to find support small streamers and doing that? I mean, people say that they are, but I don't think that really is happening. But yeah, like if you do hashtag, have it be relevant to what's actually happening, and it being like something that people are actually searching and looking for, not just like just random stuff. And I don't know, it's just I rather just see a going live tweet, but I just hate going live plus link. Ugh.
Yeah,
Add some flavor to it. Get like just like as if you're cooking. Add some flavor to it. It can't be bland. Like it cannot be just literally. I feel like someone putting raw chicken on a table and being like, "Okay, here you go. Everybody ready to eat?" It's like, no, please put some seasoning, cook it up, and add some flavor to it, so I'll be enticed to eat that or watch your channel. And so when people spice up the chicken / tweet, then people are enticed to want to watch. That's a great example.
That was perfect. No, because like I see that all the time. Like, okay, so I've gotten to this point, and I talk to Ashton Christ a lot. I'm like I said, I'm friends with her. I talk to her. I talk to Gail Level. I talk to my other friend Gothix or Vanessa a lot.
Love her.
And I talk to them all the time. Like, hey, I want to get better at utilizing Twitter. For the last couple of months, they've been telling me like, hey, on Twitter, shift away from using hashtags. Just use either pictures, memes, GIFs, or video. And so I've been doing that, and I've noticed like I put up a question yesterday on Twitter, and it was just about how am I the only one that feels that utilizing in your review video is honest, in all caps, honest review or whatever? Am I the only one that feels when I see that it makes me not want to watch it, because it makes me think that all your other stuff is not honest? And the feedback, like no hashtags, no links, no nothing. And people just started responding. I was like, people who don't even follow me. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, especially if it's a question that a lot of people could connect on. And I mean, like, yes, we gotta be real. Like, people who are on social media and creators they know marketing, and so they're not doing this stuff to just be doing it. Especially if you post relatable content, people will respond, and that's why I always say I do ask like questions I'm generally asking. Like, people may think I'm just doing it for like the engagement. Sometimes I am just asking because I'm kind of curious about like what people are doing, because that's the great thing about streaming and content creation, all that, is because you always are constantly learning from other people, and there is no one on this platform or anywhere that's like the content creator,
Yeah.
where they know all the answers. So it's always great to like hear from other people and all that kind of stuff. So I generally ask questions, but it's relatable questions because it's like somebody else might be wanting to know. Like the other day, I was asking about, did people have suggestions for the camera that I use for the lens? And people responded to it. We're like, oh, I'm following this thread because I'm looking for that too. Like I'm trying to find like a new camera lens or a new camera source and all that kind of stuff. So relatable content is always good, especially if you're already following people and you have a few followers already. Relatable content where you are generally wanting to know is always a good way to get people to respond. Yeah.
Okay. What about let's say other platforms like Instagram? So now so when it comes to Instagram, I know that you want to have in your posts preferably video, but if you do pictures, especially do stories are very, very important. But when you make a post, I've learned that you need to make a very descriptive post, like a description in your post. And here's where I'm stuck, because some say put hashtags relevant to your post in it. Others say don't put it in your post, but put it underneath, but make it relevant. I'm not sure which one to do. I've done both. I see more traction from doing it as the first comment under my post, putting it in. But I see some people, like I see Ashley, she puts it in her post. I see Gothix putting it underneath her post. And they both have great traction, but I'm just like, I'm not sure which is the one. So I'm looking at you. Well, what do we do?
Well, I will be honest, where I'm in the same boat where I am not, like, my engagement on Instagram is not that great. So I'm still trying to learn that myself. And a lot of the issue is that, like, when I started Instagram a long time ago, I wasn't doing, I wasn't like really promoting my streaming stuff. It was just like more me. So like fashion stuff I would do. And I stopped using Twitter for like a year, like completely. So it was like in between, like they're doing some changes of how the algorithm worked and all that kind of stuff. And so when I decided to come back, I had no idea what I was doing. And I had a bunch of like followers who were like, who is this? What? And like, it's in a weird like transition. Like I do get engagement on some photos and stuff that I do. It's not as strong as I would like, and I'm still trying to learn how Instagram works and what I could do better. But I feel like for that platform, it's like I have 2 Instagram accounts, and one was pretty. Both of them were pretty okay. One is like my retro collection. I have a bunch of pictures of stuff like on that account, which it was doing pretty well, but it was hard to maintain and all the other stuff. So I just kind of took a side seat to that. And then my personal one, I was like, okay, let's try to start this up again. I didn't know how to deal with it and all the hashtags. And so that's something I'm still trying to figure that out myself, which that's another thing I need to write down to kind of like look into with YouTube. YouTube and Instagram is something this year that I want to hopefully work better in. Because that's the one I do not have a handle on. Instagram's like,
so I'll tell you about YouTube, and this is something I both learned this from experimentation, and also I'm also with full screen. That's my MCN, and I've learned that when it comes to YouTube, you know how like they say you can put so many tags to it, like when you're making a video, and then like if you're using TubeBuddy, it gives you a list of what's ranking and what's not. So when you're making videos on YouTube, use no more than say 10, maybe 13 tags, but then like one trending one, and then one like the rest are related to you, like what you're talking about, and then a tag for yourself. And then in the post, use up to 2 hashtags, which will pop up above the video. And since I've been doing that, I've seen great traction. It's just, and you probably experienced this as well as a creator on these different platforms. It is hard as hell to keep up when the algorithm freaking changes.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure I'm shadow banned on Instagram. I feel it. I feel like someone shadow banned me because I was doing too much. And they're just like, you know what, this account, you're out. Because like I was definitely for a good year, like I was teeter-tottering between like probably the same amount of followers for a while. Like it's really weird. Like I'll post a picture, I'll lose a bunch of followers, and I will post a picture again, and I'll get a bunch. It's just like it's really weird. And I like I don't know. I've tried to focus myself on Twitter more. I think mainly because I can't see like the actual number because it's covered by it's like 25.3K, whatever. But like on Instagram, I can actually see what it's like going up and down. It's like, oh god damn it. Like, God, what did I do now? Like, why are you following me if you don't want to see pictures of me? Like, what are you doing? But that's why, like, when I started my retro collection, I wanted to make it separate because, like, obviously it was two different audiences. Like, if I ever posted a picture on my retro collection, people would be like, oh, I'm unfollowing. And if I post it on my other one, people don't follow. It's just a mess. Hopefully one day I'll get it together. We'll see. It's step by step. I got to work on. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna winding down to the last couple questions I have for you, and we actually got a question on Twitch from Batman and Joker, and they want
Batman's first stream. How did Batman? Hey.
They want to ask. So I'm not sure if this is for both of us or for you, but they're asking what kind of capture card do you recommend when you stream?
Ooh, win or okay, that's a good question. Well, I have to say this because I'm sponsored, so I will definitely say it'll be an Elgato product. But I would say, okay, if you have not, like, if you don't have a PC at all, and I've always said this to everybody: do not go and run out and buy a PC so you can keep up with the Joneses who are streaming on Twitch right now. Mainly because it costs a lot of money. And two, you got to be comfortable with streaming in the first place to even get to a point where you want to be investing that much money into like, a PC and capture card and all that kind of stuff. Like I started streaming on Twitch off my Xbox and I was using a laptop and streaming like I had the program, I had the game on my little laptop screen. I was streaming that way, and it was a really good way for me to get comfortable with talking to myself, to the chat, learning how to stream. But like once I got to the point that I needed a capture card, I did get a Elgato capture card. And I mean, it kind of is up to you what brand, but I would say the best thing to get is one that has no lag or a little small lag when it comes to like gameplay to your screen. Because the if you can play your game in real time at the same time as you're like playing, that's really good. Because all the games I play on my console, I play them right off the capture card onto my computer, and I can it's in real time. Thank God. I remember back in the days where it was like the external capture cards, and there was lag, and you had to delay the camera and delay the audio, and then you had to try to make sure your reaction didn't look too weird on stream where people would see it and be like, okay, why is he reacting like 5 seconds after this happened? Oh, I don't miss those days at all. Oh, the days of streaming in what was that, 2014? Delaying your camera and your audio so you didn't look crazy. I could probably find one of those highlights somewhere.
So for me, as far as capture card, you definitely have your go-to for Elgato, and I've used Elgato for years. Last year I didn't have too good of luck with Elgato because I ran through in January of last year. I ran through 3 different Elgato cards in the same month. They all just for some reason they burnt out, and then I ended up switching over and getting. Actually, I was working with Razer. Razer sent me their Ripsaw HD.
Oh,
which is, I say this, it works.
I feel like capture cards are very. I feel like all capture cards have their own issues.
Yeah,
they have their own issues. I don't think that I don't feel like anyone has gotten it to be 100% perfect. They all have their own issues, but I do think it's depending on preference and all that kind of stuff. But I think that if you talk to a lot of people, they could definitely tell you like, oh yeah, there's been a time where my capture card was not working.
Yeah. I mean, so for the last year or so, I've been using AverMedia's 4K Live Gamer internal capture card, which has been great. Plug and play. I've had no issues with it in my computer. And this is actually going to segue. I know this is a great question, Batman Joker, because it's going to segue into something that you also recently tweeted about, and I feel strongly about as well. I love your Twitter, man. I love your Twitter.
This is your Twitter life discussion. I was like, oh, I tweeted that. Oh, that was my twin brother. What did he say now?
So I and this is not to bash any companies or anything like that, but I'm using a certain streaming product, yes, from AverMedia. I've had them on my show multiple times, which is free publicity for them. Mm-hmm. I've done.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I've done this with many companies, and especially, and this is one I don't really too much understand because. And this is not me throwing shade, but it's kind of shade, but it's very carefully. I'm trying to tread this water very carefully, but I don't understand why this company has been on my show multiple times. And I have a much higher turnout when it comes to like iTunes and Google Play and Apple Podcasts, because I get weekly, my numbers are 10,000 a week downloads, not so much as watched live. But I don't understand why said company, be careful and say it, said company comes on my show repeatedly to promote their new products. But there is a certain stream doctor that they will throw stuff at all the time, who many videos, he doesn't really care for their stuff. But for me, I have to buy all of it myself. But they want me to promote it. Or they'll give me an affiliate link. And this is something. Yes. Do you have your tea? You have your tea right?
Oh no, I was already gonna be like, nope.
Right?
Yeah.
So and this is something that I think creators need to be aware of, because some companies, they will tell you, oh yes, as Andrew said, Brady, you should go get the wine. This is gonna.
Oh no, this will be after the stream. Okay, that's the after stream party.
So it's like some companies, when it comes to smaller creators, I'll admit I'm a smaller creator, where they feel like, oh yeah, you are free marketing for us. We can, well, I mean, anyone's free marketing, but yeah, you'll promote us. We don't have to give you anything, but we'll give you an affiliate link so you can promote it, or a code you can get a discount on buying it. I find that not only as a creator and streamer, but as a businessman, I find it insulting that a lot of companies do that.
Oh yeah.
What is your take?
Yeah.
So I have your take.
This is like a lot of different levels for me. So we'll get to the tweet that I'm talking about eventually. Okay. So like I could definitely see people asking me, so Brandon, like, you're giving away keys for games for streamers, like, but are you paying all of them? And it's like, no, I'm not paying all the streamers. Like, if I could do that I would need a lot of money to do that. But people don't understand when it comes, especially, this is why I say on different levels. People need to understand is that when a company is giving away a free game, they're losing money by giving that key and game away to somebody in general. So that's why I don't think like that's in the same realm, because like the company is giving a streamer a game for free that they would have had to pay $60 or something for out of their own money. And what they're wanting in return is getting content back where, that the person was playing the game, showed it to the community and all that kind of stuff. And that's where it's beneficial for both parties. And that's why it's really sucks when, and we brought this up earlier, when someone gets a key for a game and then someone doesn't even stream it and they just had, the company's losing, they lost money and they also lost that content for the promotion that they were trying to do. So like, that's why I say like, that's a different thing. Both parties are getting something out of it. So that's what it is with that. But when it comes to physical product, where a company's like, oh, we'll give you an affiliate link. You'll make this amount of money if you sell this much. And I'm absolutely against that, period, because it's free advertisement for them, because like, what am I getting out of that? Like, I'm getting, okay, I'll get a few cents. Okay, thanks. I don't really need a few cents to like promote a link for that. Like, I don't even know what your product is. I have never tried it before. How am I going to tell my audience, oh, you all should go buy a bunch of iPhones? I have an Android, but you know what? You should buy an iPhone. Here's my affiliate link. I don't know anything about it, but I guess you could try this link out, and you know, if I get some money, thanks. But yeah, there are companies out there who will try to take advantage of smaller creators, even all creators, to be honest. Because I've gotten a company who reached out to me, who I worked with them previously. Well, actually, okay, we can talk about two companies. Okay. We'll talk about ones I've worked with and ones I did not work with, but we'll talk about the ones I worked with. I did work with a company in the past. It was a sponsored like item that they sent me for review, which I did. I did that stuff. Like, they sent me the product, I reviewed it, posted about it, all that kind of stuff, and it was good. Months later, I received an email from a person, which after I looked at it a few days ago, I don't know if this was legit. So hopefully that was the case. But it came from a totally different person who was like, oh, I worked with these two who I worked with you previously. We're contacting you because we want you to do an Amazon review on our product and write a review on it, and then we'll pay you for doing that. And I was like, what? And I was like, wait, can you explain it again? And they're like, we want you to buy the product, and then we want you to write a review on Amazon, and then, you know, say it's good, and then we'll pay you for that.
I get that all the time.
Yeah, and I was like,
that all the time.
yeah, I don't do that. And like, I had a great experience with your previous product. I actually didn't respond at all, because I read it. I was like, that's great. We're not doing that. But yeah, I had a great experience with the first product. They actually sent me two things before this happened. So I was like, that's why when I looked at it the other day, and it was from a Gmail. So I was like, okay, maybe somebody got my email, because this company was sending like streamers like items and stuff. So maybe somebody got like my email. I don't know, or I found it and was trying to do something. So at this point, I don't really knock this company, because I do think it was probably a scam, to be honest, because they had never done it before. But most recently, this did happen. And so I'm definitely not saying this company's name out loud. But I got an email, which actually twice, not once. They sent an email that was formatted horribly. The whole email was like a straight like line going down. Like, the words were like this, and they did it twice. And I was like, what? Because when I talked about it, there's the other people who got it. They were like, oh, are you talking about that email that came in crazy? I was like, yeah. So basically, this company was reaching out to people of color, people in the LGBT community. They wanted to, you know, sponsor their content with, you know, products and stuff. But the thing was that they were going to give you an affiliate code for that, and then you had to sell a certain amount of PCs for them. Whereas, like, okay, why would I do that? Like, why would I take a link to sell your product? I've never tried it. How do I know if it even works? And all that kind of stuff. And so I don't think I responded to that one either. I think I just posted about it because it's like, this is crazy. You're nuts. But it was a huge thing a few years ago where like the game key companies were doing the discounts on game keys, and they're doing that for a lot of creators, where it's just like, oh, you're affiliated with like so and so, like get this much off of a discount if you buy that. That kind of stuff. I was also kind of like I did take a few of those, and I was like, when I was like, didn't know any better, I was like, oh, well, I'm affiliated with this, like get a discount on a game, which is good for the people who are buying it. I might be getting 2 cents out of it, but that's what I thought. But yeah, my major thing for the tweet that you're talking about was like the physical products where they're like, luckily, like I don't have to deal with that with Corsair. They've been awesome. They would never do this, but there are brands out there who will be like, okay, you want a headset? We'll give you an affiliate link, and like you can say that you're partnered with us, and we'll give you that. It's like, and that's it. It's like, oh, for the words that I'm like affiliated with you, oh yeah, that's fine. Just use the link, you'll get a discount for that. And if you want the actual headset, you'll get a discount for your own discount. And it's like, no, I'd rather not use my own money to promote a product for you, and you get pretty much all the revenue for yourself. But yeah, this is why I've always told, like even in that tweet, I've said that every creator, no matter how big or small, they have the right to ask about like, well, can I try out the product if I'm supposed to be promoting it to my audience? Like, I don't care how big or small you are. If you have viewers, if you have followers, if you have this and that, you're using your engagement, your audience to check this out. You're telling them, hey, this is something that I use. I think this would be cool for you to check out. And if it turns out to be bad, if it's like a headset that turns your ears green and you have no idea about that, oh, it's going to reflect on you. Not as much as the company. Like people can be mad at the company, but they're going to be mad at you because you're the person telling them, hey, this is awesome. You should check it out. So, I mean, it's a risk for anybody who takes any sort of sponsorships that if something goes wrong, that someone's going to blame you for it. But it's at least that you have experience with it. And you could be the person who goes to the company and says, hey, I have someone who bought a headset from you guys. They're saying they're having a huge issue. Can you fix this? And you have that connection where you can at least do that because you had an experience to be like, well, yeah, that's not normal. That didn't happen to me. I'll go talk to them about that. And I've had to do that a few times for things that like broke and stuff. And I had to reach out to previous companies to like try to get that settled with people who may have bought something that I was promoting. But all the companies that I work with now, I've been very active and very upfront. Like I will not post anything, period. I will not tag you in anything unless I have used it and I'm trying it out. They don't have to pay me. I'm not looking for a bunch of money for that. And I know that's like a big old thing with like some streamers or whatever. But like if I'm getting free product and all I got to do is like tell people about it, if I like it, that's enough for me. I don't need a bunch of money. I don't need that. But that's why it's a big argument on streamer Twitter about experience and compensation. We will. That's a whole nother thing. I don't even want to dive into. I've been in so many arguments with people who just like. The only thing I'll say about this is that I feel like when it comes to experience and compensation, whatever someone chooses to do with that, that's up to them and their career and their situation is not up to people to do blank statements like you should do anything for free at all. You should be paid for everything. Not everybody is in that position to say that. Like like we said earlier, I cannot walk up to Sony and be like, oh, I want a PlayStation. And if you're going to give me a PlayStation, y'all got to pay me for using your product. You know how quickly they would laugh at me for that. So you just have to know your place and what is appropriate, what is not. And if you want to gain some experience with something, I don't see a problem with that as long as you're not being taken advantage of and you're okay with the situation. That's what I've always said to people. And I really do hate the blanket statement of telling people, oh, you shouldn't be gaining experience. You should get paid for everything. And it's the people who are it literally is the people who are getting paid to do stuff who say this. It literally is. It is always the people who are getting paid gigs who are telling everybody else, oh, well, don't take anything not paid. Well, you're getting paid, so you can say that.
Yeah.
Now that's the tea of the night. That's the tea of the night. I'm sorry. That's the one. It is always the people who are getting paid telling other people, you shouldn't do anything for experience. You should be getting paid for everything. Yeah, because you're getting paid. Period. You wouldn't be saying that. See. All right, and that's Brandon just letting it out.
that was some good. Can I get some more of that tea?
I think it's been about 3 hours. I think I gave a lot.
Right? And honestly, I only got like 2 more questions. Again, to be respectful of your time. But before we hop into those questions, I actually want to touch on what you were just saying, because like, clearly I work with gaming companies. Clearly. So like I was saying, with that certain company so there's a certain capture card that just came out. That's like 5 stacks. And I was told months ago, oh yeah, you're going to get it. I'm going to come on your show. We're going to review it. we're gonna send it to you. I've not gotten any product,
Mm.
but I've got an affiliate code to get a discount. And I'm like, that's why I'm over here like, man, I need to work with I have no relationship with Coursera. I need to go get one. Because it's like, I mean, Razer sends me stuff. I get stuff like my whole computer here is from iBuyPower. Like I get stuff from people, and Go XLR, they hook me up, and it's like, why am I going to take an affiliate code to get 5% off $500 product? And then like when I message them like, hey, what is the process for me to get your capture card? Because I'm really interested in it. I would like to review it. Silence, crickets. But they're active on social media.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right.
Yeah. That's my response to that. Yeah.
Okay. So I see it as, you don't think I'm valuable. You think I have no reach. Okay. Keep sending it to that streamer and YouTuber that in his own video, he was playing with it and dropped it. Like, okay. I got more respect for you guys than that, but all right. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta walk away and be like, you know what? We're good. And I have done that too. I've had to walk away from quite a few companies in the past, especially when there's no communication or just me seeing companies doing stuff for other people and not being as responsive to me. Not like, oh, you're not answering me. More like, I see that you are working with other people, but like when I'm asking you, hey, what, like, can you help me in this aspect? You're like, oh, I can't. We don't have anything. Okay, well, I've seen you. All these people have all these activations, so you're clearly doing something. I've had to walk. Yeah, I've walked away from definitely 2 or 3 different management groups because of that. Because them not being very proactive about like helping me with my career, which I hired them on to do. Like if it gets to the point, especially if I'm doing management stuff for my streaming career, and I'm the one who's getting all these opportunities myself, why am I even hiring a manager to do that at that point? Yeah. So unfortunately, but you live and you learn. And I'm trying to find that one that will finally do work for me and realize that like I there is a gold mine here if they do it right. But we'll see. The future is bright. I'm excited about this year, especially with the coronavirus stuff happening. It's bad. I'm still being positive that something positive will come out of this, I think. Yeah.
All right. And one of the last 2 questions in chat, if y'all have any questions, please, if you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, if you got questions, we are here to answer them for you. So please drop them there. So, there's something that you've recently been doing, and let me get the question up because I want to get it correctly. But I want to know, like, how did you come to work with St. Jude and their St. Jude play live?
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. So, about a few years ago, me and another fellow streamer started a charity event called the Scarathon, which was an idea I had a long time ago. That I was like, you know what, I want to do a marathon. Because I saw a lot of these marathons on Twitch, and they were like, they were good, but like I was like, I don't want to do just like, oh, let's play a game and people donate. I don't think that would work for me. So I kind of thought about like what kind of things did my audience like seeing, and I thought about it, and I was like, oh, my audience likes to see me in pain. So I think that would be a great way to for charity. I think we should do that. And so, I was into horror games and scary games, all that kind of stuff. And my friend was too. And so I came to him with this idea, and he was like, oh, that's a really good idea, but how are we going to actually pull this off? Like, 2 of us are not going to be able to do like a marathon of this. Like, this would be crazy. So I came up with the idea of talking about like, let's try to get other people involved and see what we could do. I had a friend named Santa, Josh, who did a lot of charity work and did a lot of like tech stuff with charities. So I reached out to him with my idea about like trying to do this event that would involve a bunch of streamers playing a bunch of scary games for like 3 days straight, and raising all money for the same cause, and like, but never having the stream turn off. And we weren't switching channels and this and that, blah, blah. And so he loved the idea, and he was like, okay, like, let me see if I can build this product out for you guys and see what we can do. And we started like kind of promoting what we were trying to do. And since I was the one who kind of came up with the idea, we ended up having it on my channel. And so it was the first iteration of the event was called All Hallows Eve Scareathon. And so we had it on Halloween. And so I think we raised $15,000 in like 3 days in 1 weekend. And this is like the very first one we had ever done, which was pretty crazy. And so we're like, okay, let's do this again next year and see how it goes. And we did it again the next year for a different charity. We had a much better experience with that. And so we're like, okay, this is something we should probably do like every year and see if we could do it. So I had been hearing about St. Jude Summit for a few years. And I was like trying to, I didn't know really anyone at St. Jude, but I was like trying to be very active in their community and trying to like be open and asking them questions about like, how do you get involved with it? And I think they reached out to me actually 2 years ago, which is so crazy because now we're like on year 3 of this. But they reached out to me 2 years ago and asked me if I wanted to go to the St. Jude Summit and like learn about the process. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, like, you know, like let's do it. Because at the time we weren't doing anything for St. Jude at all. But like I was like, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to see what this charity is about and learn about it. And then I asked them, I was like, well, hey, like I'm not the only one who runs this organization. Like I would love to see if like the other person who helps me with this can come too. And they're like, oh yeah, like I think it's good for both of you guys to be there. So we both went there. We had the experience. We cried, of course, during the summit. And I remember it was the last day. We're like, you know what? Because I think was it in October? No, it was in May. It was in May. And so we're like, okay. I was like, I have a crazy idea. And Santa, who was helping us out with the previous ones, was also there too. And I was like, I have a crazy idea. And everybody's like, what? And I was like, what if we do a Scareathon in like 2 weeks? And they're like, wait, what? And I was like, what if we do a St. Jude Scareathon in 2 weeks? Because this just ended and we just met all these people. And we could talk about like what we did. And I went up to like Zach from St. Jude, who's like one of the head guys of it, and asked him like, would you guys be okay with us doing like a charity marathon that's involves scary games, of very graphic things for this children's organization? And he was like, as long as you guys keep it with the TOS and all this kind of stuff, we welcome you all to do it. And I was like, okay, let's go with it. And the first year went really well. And the cool thing about it, and which is why I love our partnership with St. Jude, is that every single person, like moderator and streamer, gets like a St. Jude Twitch hoodie. If like everybody, like mods, streamers, everybody, which we were able to work out that deal with them. But we have to reach like a certain amount every year, which that's like I think the first year we were supposed to hit 15,000 for the whole thing, and I think we hit 20,000 overall the whole weekend. So we were able to get everybody those Twitch hoodies, which was pretty cool. And then the next year after that, St. Jude invited us back, but this time around they wanted us to be a part of like their presentation. So this was never live streamed because like all this stuff was like the private stuff, but they wanted us to do a presentation on the event, and we got in front of like a group of like 200 people, talked about this Scareathon. And then I remember we were a part of their like media people. Like it was Dr. Lupo, Bloody Faster. There's some other streamers who were involved too that they had like pitching to the media about like St. Jude Play Live and streamers who were doing it, and they pitched like the Scareathon too. So we're sitting there like in interviews with like all these big names, and like IGN is like talking to us, and I'm like, oh, so yeah, we play scary games for charity. And then like I was like looking at the clips, I was like, oh my God, there's a clip of me like dressed up as Bob Ross and all this kind of stuff. And but it was a really cool experience because I just really have always appreciated St. Jude being very open to streamers being involved, because they I think they're really honestly the first like company that has really taken to, oh, streamers are really doing awesome things for charity. Let's support them in that. You know, I don't see too many companies doing as much as St. Jude's, and that's why people go so hard for St. Jude, because they see what they're actually doing is benefiting children and having them not having to pay bills to go to the hospital, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've been lucky enough for them to invite me to be a part of their panel tomorrow. They're going to be talking about the Scareathon there. But we're having a Scareathon in May, so we're going to be doing that again. But it's such a great experience because it helps me to meet a lot of streamers I don't get to watch all the time. And then we're all raising money for the same cause, but it's always so epic. And it's got to the point where people are like waiting for it. They're like sitting in the channel because they know it's going to be a weekend of fun. All the streamers have a great time. I honestly have never met anybody who did it. It was like, I wish I didn't do it. Like, everybody has always had a great time because we tried to build a community of people who love just like being involved because they know they're doing something good for charity, if it's St. Jude or something else. And it's weird. It's so weird to like see people like they bought shirts with like the St. Jude and the art. That's another thing too. The whole art process and design was like a super important thing to me because I wanted it to be like an iconic brand that when people would see it, they'd be like, oh, that's the Scareathon. Like, I see where it's going. And the whole art for the event is like, basically it starts off with like a few events. Like, each event has a different kind of scene. So it started off with a girl when she was younger, like she was like this witch. Then it goes into her getting older, and it like she eventually has a son, and then it shows like her son getting older and her older. And so now the current like iteration is like she's really old and he's like now like the protector of her. So it's just like trying to tell a story of like how you can like grow the youth to do much better things than you are doing for yourself. And that's like, I don't know, my whole like when I used to write stories, that kind of came into play when I created that concept. And I told the artist, I was like, Sarah, can you like, Sarah Lizzie Art, that's who does the art for the Scareathon. She is amazing. She could take something that I don't even know where I'm going with, and she will like create something into huge stuff. So if you ever look at all the past Scareathons, there is a story between each one, like in order, and it should make sense by October because we're gonna have a little surprise coming with that. Yeah. Okay. So St. Jude has been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I would someone who went through cancer and has worked with hospitals and with kids, like I would love to be part of it. I know I'm not a Twitch streamer, but I would love to work with that.
Well, the cool thing about St. Jude that I've always been super appreciative of is that like anybody can literally just like right now start like raising money for it. They don't have to be a big streamer or whatever. Like as long as like and plus they are very active on social media. So if they see you tagging, like saying like, hey, I made this much on here, like we're doing this, they are paying attention to those folks too. Because I know for the summit that they were supposed to have, that list was a lot. The year before that, it was like 200 people. I know they grew it. It was probably 400 people. It was gonna be packed. So each year it got bigger and bigger because so many more people were involved. But they don't really care about size because like the thing about it is that like people, especially during charity time, people get shocked when they're like, I like I'm not partnered and I got like $2,000 in donations. I'm like, yeah, because there's people out there who care. It doesn't matter if you're like, like a big streamer, you have a community of people who want to help. And so that's why, even especially with the Scareathon, I've been very, very honestly honored and shocked by my community, by what they have done sometimes, where it's just like, I remember I did a charity thing for Gamers Outreach, and I was not against, but I was like streaming with like these huge streamers who are like pulling in all this money around me, and I was like, you know what, I don't stream that much, and like my community is awesome. I'm not trying to be like, let's get like $10,000. Like I was like, okay, let's just do 5,000 because I felt good with that. I was good with that. And then by the end of the weekend, we were at 4,000. I was like, what did you all do? You weren't supposed to do this. But that's another reason why I think people should always not feel so that charity is a competition, or like I am not a partner, so like I can't raise that much money. You will be shocked that there are some really generous people out there who are willing to do stuff for charity, especially people who have been through like stuff in their lives or know someone who's been through that. They're definitely willing to want to help. So I always tell people if that's something that you want to do, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got 2 questions. One from Rasta Life Reggae. He wants to ask, he says, questions for both of y'all, but do you consider while you stream your man cave or is it your office?
Oh, well, I stream in my bedroom. I stream in my bedroom. I would show it off, but like my bed's over there. My old apartment, I used to have a office, so that was like my streaming room and my man cave. But no, I stream in my office. Now I had to downgrade, but it's you would know it's my bedroom, right? I don't know.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Tell. For me, so Lehu and I, we have a house right outside of Waikiki. So one of the bedrooms we just turned it into. One is a lounge room. The other one is office. And then we've got our bedroom, the master bedroom. Then we have a downstairs that one gets rented out. Like it's 2 bedrooms downstairs. So it's like, yeah, I guess I can't call it a man cave when I share it.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. His other question is, what are your recommendations for the best headphones?
Ooh, okay. So that's gonna be a tough one because I have to once again say I'm sponsored by Corsair, so they have really good headsets, which they do. But I have to say, whatever I suggest will be Corsair. But the ones that I have right now that I was using, they're called the Corsair Virtuoso. They're pretty good. Yeah, they're really nice actually. The only reason that I'm not using them right now is because that I think I broke the cord to charge them. So I'm using these other ones I have, but I've been really happy with the Corsair headsets and their products in general. I have worked with other companies before and who had obviously headsets and stuff, but I honestly I hated wires and I always would do like with wireless, but I don't even notice this, so that's actually a good sign. I haven't been like the whole time like what the hell, that used to be me all the time. So
he's asking, do you have a link? You have a link?
Yes. Let me see. I think if you go to corsair.com and just put code Brandon, you can use my link, but let me double check. I'm checking on my channel right now.
Okay.
I tried to make everything super easy because like I'm like, I don't know that stuff. Let me see. Yeah. So if you buy anything at Corsair, code Brandon will give you a discount. That does help me out, which I do appreciate that. But yeah, you'll find there's another pair of these that are yellow, but they're in my my living room. But I don't know, for some reason the yellow pops. I was just like, I like these. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, so the last question I have for you is all right, let's talk Reverb Games. And what are some things that you're working on that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah. All right.
You got some creators in that are watching.
Yeah. That's why this is a good thing too as well. My job is literally working with content creators of all sizes. So if you're watching and want to check me out, you could definitely hit me up on the Twitter. I do have like all my job information on there too. But basically what I do is I work with creators in creating content with them with the games that we help develop and publish and all that kind of stuff, and giving them opportunities with the games that we work with, which that can vary in all types of things. That's what's one of the beauties about Reverb is that we're a marketing agency for video games. So literally we could think of so many cool things that involve creators, which I'm super excited about. So if you do want to check us out or want to reach out to me, definitely go to my Twitter at iamBrandon TV on Twitter, and my email's on there. But we have a main portal of all of our games that you could check out and request keys for on reverbgames.io on there. And you can see what we currently have. So I am unofficially working on like 7 games, but officially I'm working on I think I could probably only talk about one. No, I probably could talk about. I think I could only talk about one right now. That's like okay, that's out there. I've been promoting.
NDAs.
No NDAs. It's just that like it hasn't got to the point where it's like okay, let's get creators involved. So the one game I definitely could talk about, which I've been super excited about since I like started interviewing for the job, and that they told me about. It's a game called Skater XL, which is it's a snowboarding, not snowboard. Wow, a skateboarding game, like in the realm if you play like Tony Hawk or Skate and all that kind of stuff. They have built this really awesome world in the skating world, and it's been out on PC for like an early access demo that they have. But a really cool thing about this game that happened was that they built this really awesome community of people who love skateboarding games, and they like created a really crazy world within itself. So it's like a community of like who have done like awesome mods and creative like content around it. So they have a huge community behind it. And so that game's gonna be coming out for PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and it just announced that it was coming for Switch, even though that was already out there. But they've been promoting the Switch version starting today, so you'll be seeing that on all platforms. But I will be working with creators to start doing some really cool activations with that, involving having y'all check out the game when it comes out and release. So if you do want to check that out, that's on reverbgames.io, and you can apply for the game there. You just sign in with your credentials. We'll check your Twitch or whatever platform you're on. And I haven't made like a criteria of like what we're looking for yet. Especially for this game, I think a lot of creators are going to be able to get to see it and get to check it out. So I am looking for people who are like actively being awesome content creators and who are showcasing games, and I'm really excited to start giving some opportunities to people who haven't been able to work with a game dev in this kind of way, by being that middleman for them to do that with. So yeah, and I got a lot of more exciting games coming out soon. We're working on some stuff. This is the one thing about this job. I already got pulled into 3 games this week, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." So this is why I said like the video game industry, we're doing good. So like it's good for me because I have work. So I'm able to continue doing what I'm doing and coming up with really cool opportunities. So yeah, the best way to reach out to me is check out Twitter or send me a work email. I do also have a contact sheet, which I gotta make sure I do that, but I'll probably post that in a few days. Okay. So if people want to contact me about specific games they want to check out, I've been trying to reach out and doing that way too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kevin says he has a question for both of us.
Oh.
Well, drop your question, man. I guess in the interim of that question, when you coming out here to Hawaii when this whole thing clears up?
I've been wanting to come out to Hawaii. I have a friend named Vaughn who's been trying to get me to go out there. And I've been saying, if he's going to pay for it, then I'll go out there. So if he pays for it, I may show up eventually. We'll see. Well, I would love to go to Hawaii because I would like to get away from the Chicago cold. So that would be great. Yeah.
Well, I will say this. If you need a place to stay, man, you more than welcome in.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
I'm serious. I'm dead.
All right.
So people in the gaming industry. So my folks, the Capcom, Bandai Namco, Square, whatnot, and the voice actors when they come out here, they stay at our place because we have a whole room set up. Like here's your room, here's your key.
Okay. All right. I'm holding you to it. I'm gonna be like, I'm coming to Hawaii. Here I am. I'm here.
I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm ready. So Kevin's question is, how do you think content creation will change in the next 5 years?
That's a good question. Oh, that's a good question. I'll let you answer that one first.
In the next 5 years, I think a lot of the stigma that's around content creation now, when people are like, "Oh, you're just playing games," I think people are going to change.
Gone.
It's going to be the next big thing, and I think right now it's kind of like think of like the gold rush when people were digging for gold, or when people were trying to be tycoons. This is the next thing.
Yeah.
It's entrepreneurship.
And now everybody's home. So now this is the chance to get into it now.
Exactly. Like if you really want to do it, now's the best time, whether you're making Let's Plays or live streams or reviews or podcasts like this. People are wanting and needing to consume content. This is why I tell people, like, stop seeing your Twitch streamer, stop seeing your YouTuber. You are a content creator because you're creating content that people want to consume. And now that people are stuck at home, and even going forward, there's going to be apprehension with people going out. They're still going to be like, hey,
it's going to be a while before anybody feels comfortable, like as if it was normal again, which I don't think it's going to be like that for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a good while.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
I was talking about this last year, and well, was this last year? I was thinking, obviously, content creation is not going anywhere. I think now creators are realizing their power and what power they do have as a creator, and being more vocal about like what their needs are. So like our conversation about companies who are like just giving links to things and not giving product out to creators and expecting them to promote it. I think that's going to stop happening pretty soon, because the fact that people should know what they deserve to have. And also like the whole when Ninja switched to Mixer situation and that blew up, that was a definite change in the whole streaming industry, where it was like it rocked everybody, where it was like this really popular creator that was on a major platform took his power and went somewhere else and had, you know what I mean? No matter what you think about what he's doing now or how like viewers are now, that shook up everything. And then when they start, and you follow suit, people are doing the same thing. So, I mean, for example, Ninja might not have like 10,000 viewers like he did when he's on Twitch, but I can guarantee he's making a lot more money than he was on Twitch, though, at this point, being over on Mixer. And he's probably at a point where he's probably happier that he's making the money that he wants, but not dealing with having to have the pressures of so many people watching him, and also probably be able to manage his chat at this point, to be honest, because like that's 10,000 people to 4,000 or whatever. That's a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely see content creation even growing better, even more creators knowing their power, what they should be, how they should be respected. And this is why I feel like streaming education and content creation education is not going to ever stop. And I think it's going to continue to grow, and it's going to always shift, because like things are always changing. Like, you know, TikTok came out of nowhere and all these creators are like now on TikTok with millions of followers. I was like, well, okay, I see. I just haven't figured that out. I don't think I'll do TikTok, but
I don't understand it.
There are people who are streamers who are making big splashes like on social media because they started doing TikTok and all that kind of stuff, and then posting it on Twitter, and then like that going viral. And it's always constantly changing, but I see the industry continuing to grow, and companies who are snowballing, like creators or smaller creators, are going to have to switch their strategy, because giving a streamer like an affiliate link and being like, okay, promote my product and you get 2 cents out of it is probably not going to work that much anymore. So we're seeing that change for sure.
Hey, Corsair, if you're watching, I got no loyalty. They gave me an affiliate link. Corsair, I love you, baby. Come on. I want to work with you. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, for those who don't understand how affiliate links and payments work, it's like when you got an Amazon affiliate link. You don't make crap off of that.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I definitely made more money on the discount codes that I've given to people from like my stream than what I made on affiliate links, to be honest. Like I made like okay, there's a difference. Like we're talking about affiliate links, like I've seen pennies, but like when I've been like on my channel, oh, if you use code Brandon, whatever, I definitely made like $600 one time where I was like, oh, okay. And like, this is like, you know, the company taking out their portion of it, and that was what was left over for me. And I was like, who bought all this stuff? Like, I'm okay with that, because I at least got like product out of that, and I also knew and respected that company already. So I was okay to promote, like, use code Brandon for a discount and stuff, because it gives my audience some money off of what they're getting. And I already tried out the product and knew it was something that I liked. So if they wanted to invest in it, they could, and they would get at least a discount off instead of paying full price. Because why would you pay full price? You get like some money off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Chip says, he said, bro, I just made enough money to pay Amazon the exact amount that they take from you after you.
That's how I think. I have an Amazon associate link thing, which I still don't know how that works. But the only reason I have it is because of the fact that on my setup, I have this is a good thing for people who like want to show. Oh, I just said myself. I want to showcase their setups and stuff to people. There's a website called kit.co. It's a really good website that it's made for content creators to share their setups for people who want to actually check it out. And you can actually link up your Amazon affiliate link there. And so if people buy stuff from there, you get a little bit. That's the only one that I'll actually do, because I really don't have to do work in that. It's just already like, I'm like, well, if there's going to be a link there, I'm showing people what my setup is. Here, they can use that if I make money from that. But I haven't really made anything from that. But it's a good website to showcase your stream, and then people can actually find out where they can buy it from and all that kind of stuff. Because I get people all the time asking me, oh, what do you have in your setup? What is this and that? Where blah blah. So it was made for content creators to use to showcase their equipment and all that. So it's streamer, podcasters, pretty much everybody under the sun.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I lied. I have a final question for you.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Did you have fun?
Oh, I mean, I've been sitting here for almost 4 hours, so I'd hope so. This is definitely the longest podcast I've ever done. So that's kudos to you for keeping me on this long. I'm a little hungry, but no, I had a good time.
Cool.
I think I got some Twitter content I'm going to use for tonight from this session. So you probably see a tweet in a little bit.
Do it. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we go?
Well, if you've listened this far, I really appreciate you at this point. But yeah, if you enjoyed my content, if you want to check me out, I am, especially on Twitch, I'm very welcoming to new people coming in. You can definitely check me out on Twitter at iamBrandon. If you want to follow me on Twitter to see the hot mess I am, you can definitely follow me there at iamBrandon TV. And yeah, I do kind of a lot of stuff. I stream. I do gaming industry stuff. I play on D&D as well. I do a show with a group in Chicago here. So if you are into D&D, I do a show with other POC called Rivals of Waterdeep. So you can find that on the D&D channel, twitch.tv/D&D. And other than that, I'm just like on the internet hanging out. It's an Overwatch. So if you're an Overwatch player, I would love to play. And I just started playing Phantasy Star Online 2 because I got an Xbox One again. So I'm diving into that one.
We got to play that because I have been waiting for it. I don't have anyone to play with. Yeah.
So I tried to start it last night again, and then they went on server maintenance. So yeah, I was sad. I was really sad on that one. So yeah, that's about it.
All right. And if you guys, if you want, all social media links for Brandon are in the description below the podcast, either on YouTube, on Twitch. It's also going to be on the podcasting. Well, I'm going to go ahead and drop those links because I got to plug all that, and I can look down and see it. So I don't have to go off a sheet. It's right there. Apple Podcast. You can catch Hawaii's #1 podcast 3.5 years in a row. We're going on our 4th year.
Nice.
It is crazy. Over 10,000 downloads a week.
Wow. 10,000 people are going to hear my annoying voice for 3 hours. Sorry, I should have said that before.
So you can catch it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Pandora Radio, Spotify. And if you want to catch it live, we have it on both YouTube and Twitch, which if I ever make partner, I probably can't do that again. But hey, it is what it is for now. You can catch it on both. And if you want to support this podcast and stream and whatnot, we got Patreon, which everything that you guys invest into me, I reinvest into the channel to give you better content, better quality equipment. You know, since some companies want to give me affiliate links. Sometimes I gotta, invest in my own stuff. So it's like that sometimes. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys coming in almost 4 hours. Almost 4 hours. I appreciate the conversation. Brandon, loved having you on the show.
Thank you.
We definitely got to do this again.
Yeah.
Anytime you come out here to Hawaii.
All right.
If you're on Oahu, you need a place to stay. I am 2 minutes outside of Waikiki.
I'm taking you up on that.
Dead serious. Yes. So with that being said, you guys have a great one. Brandon and I are signing out. We'll see y'all on the next one.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope it was informative, engaging, and you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you go ahead and leave a rating and a review. It greatly helps out the podcast and helps the platforms that we're on go ahead and promote us more so that more people can check it out. And if you're wondering what all platforms we're on, aside from what you've listened to it on, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. And if you want to support the podcast, then we've got Patreon, so patreon.com/Mekel Kasanova, which allows us to continue doing what we're doing. If you're looking for this in video format, we're also available on twitch.tv/Mekel Kasanova, as well as youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova. So with all that being said, I'll catch you on the next episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast and the #1 podcast in the Pacific, the Kasanova Podcast. You have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.